Warning. It is the opinion of the Forestry Productions LLC and the Working Perspectives podcast that we should inform you that some of the language used in this recording could possibly be considered offensive. You have been warned, so if you decide to listen to the recording, then don't complain about the language. Hi, hello, how are you? Thanks for stopping by. Today we're going to talk to some real people about some real things, living real lives, doing real stuff. This is the Working Perspectives podcast. I'm Matt Lavelle, accompanied today by jdub, Justin Richardson, Captain Jerkbeard, Tom Lavelle, the bad boy, Bernie Podcasty, and our guest today is the one and only Chef Chipper, Chip Panico. Tom, how we doing?
Doing great.
Good. Benoit Pahud Casse. You ready to get this thing going?
Yeah, man, always excited to be around for a Tuesday show.
Very nice, very nice. Well, just in case you guys are wondering, you can find all our content and all our stuff on all podcast platforms and YouTube at Work Perspectives Podcast. You can have us on Instagram at Work Perspectives Podcast, and you can join us on the Twitter and the TikTok at Working P Pod. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, please email us at workingperspectives@gmail.com, and please like and subscribe so, you know, the world can stop hearing me say like and subscribe. Justin, you still watching Asian porn?
Nah, it's not really my thing.
Glad to hear. Well, this is the Work Perspectives Podcast. Let's get this thing started. Let's go.
It's all objective to be effective by voicing societies. Working perspective, exploring your day and how you get paid. Launching a new episode every Tuesday. Your day can transform while we inform with new episodes available on every platform. So check out our vibe and how we get live. Then do us a solid. Share and subscribe. Would you share it? Would you share it? Would you share it? Working perspectives.
All right, guys, let me tell you a little something about our guest today, old Chef Chipper, Chip Panico. So when I was coming up as a kid, there was a couple cool places to hang out in Lansdale, land of the free, home of the brave. And one of them was this place we know as the Boys and Girls Club. Let me tell you, that was a place. Justin, you've been there, I'm assuming?
I did. When North Penn went on strike that one year, I spent the majority of the year there, and it was a wonderful, wonderful place.
Dude, me and Tom were in Catholic school when they went on strike. Tom, do you remember like how much it sucked, like walking home from school and we see like everybody playing football at like 4th Street Park, and we'd be like, what the fuck? You know, like what the hell? I remember asking my mom, like, why can't our teachers go on strike? And
you know, I don't remember it that well. I don't remember it like
I was
did it last a whole year?
No, it was until
it was like 2 months, maybe a month.
No, it was until January.
Shut up.
It was really? 3 or 4 months. Yeah, because September, October, November. Maybe it was December.
Now that you're mentioning
3 months.
Yeah, we were there for a while.
Oh man, I thought it was 2 months, but man, maybe it's 3 months. Man, you lucky fucking bastard. That sucks. But I mean, the parents must have been going through it. But either way, back to the Boys and Girls Club. Hanging out there. There's a couple older guys there that are like, you know, the cooler old heads. You know, Jack Byers was one, Rob DeFinis was another, you know, but then there was one guy that was like the cool guy, old guy, but back in the day, and I think you guys would agree, back in the day, it was the cool thing. And I've said this before, it was cool if you were an older guy to be the dickhead to a young kid. You know what I'm saying? Right? Like picking on the young kids was cool, you know? And I'm sure it's not cool now, but I mean, maybe it is. We don't know. Kids like clean living these days. And yeah, it's just the whole thing.
To be honest, I think you make too much of that. I don't think it was as cool as you're saying, you know?
Well, I guess maybe it wasn't cool, but kids were fucking doing it.
Kids were mean, you know?
Yeah, real fucking mean. But one of the guys that brought in like a sense of like camaraderie and like an inclusiveness was our guest today, Chef Chip. He was always cool to like the young kids and was like show us stuff and like get us involved. But then he would also blast your fucking head off in a game of dodgeball, pal. let me tell you, sharpshooter, this guy, watch the hell out. I've seen many a kid sent off with like, a bloody nose, but they, rub some dirt on it and get back in there. There's no calling mom. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, he was very inclusive, and he was, but there was also this bar in town called, that his family ran for a number of years. And it was one of the cool spots to go. And I remember like, we weren't old enough to get in there, but like we would hang out by there and go by there. And we knew him and his brother were both there. And there was also like, they played football and they were stars of the football team. And they were both like, I remember seeing like a picture in like a yearbook, and it's just Chip with like a couple other guys standing there in like their golf shirts at like, school. And I just remember him just being like all shoulders and chest and be like, God damn, that guy's. But either way, always looked up to him. Always thought he was a good guy. And he was like nice to all us kids. And when I found out he was a listener of the show and a fan of the show, man, I'll tell you, it really meant a lot, because it does, it does take a lot to do this, and we do commit. So when we find out like good people like Chip tune into the show and like the show, it just, it means the world to us. So before we get started, I would just like to ask Chip, what do you prefer, or what do you like better? The Godfather Part 1, Godfather Part 2?
Dude, I think you got to watch the whole thing right in one saga.
Right. But which one do you think is better?
USA Network, they chop it up.
Yeah. Which one do you think is better, though? Part 1 or Part 2?
When Apolonia gets blown up, Part 1, that's where the entire storyline takes a drastic turn. And for that reason, and that reason alone, I picked Godfather #1. Go back and watch Apolonia.
Better movie.
Go back and watch Apolonia.
Oh my God. Some of the first tits I ever saw in my life.
Oh, baby.
Go back and watch Apolonia and then watch her get blown up.
Yeah.
And you understand why Michael did what he had to do.
The version where they chop it up on USA, where they play it in chronological order. So like it starts with
it's got a name
in Italy.
You can get it. It's the Godfather Saga. It's called the Godfather
That's
Saga.
cool. Yeah.
And they mix the first two movies, but they play it like it starts off with young Vito.
Order. Yeah.
Well, it's a shame because the second movie is much better. But yeah, when the wife gets blown up in Italy, man. Yeah, I remember, dude, this was awkward. Like I remember like it's one of those movies, like I remember watching it with my dad and Tom. We were like if I'm 10, you're 12, right? And she's there like naked, tits out, and her nipples were different. I do remember she had different nipples, right? Am I wrong?
If I could, I don't know if her nipples were different, but I think her boobs were perky. You know what I mean? They were like, it was like a down with an up. Does that make sense? They kind of like,
they were like
swoop.
half.
You're talking about a swoop.
It was like a
pointy.
Yeah.
All I know is I remember it to this day. There's a couple movies that I remember with it, but that movie was on, and this was the first time I'm watching it. And to be honest, I think we were watching it as a family. And I might have been 10, like you were saying. And then next thing you know, this naked, and I'm like, my God, I was like, I like, this is like, whoa, like, and I was like, I got to see this movie again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So initial love of that movie, I think, was from Apolonia. So that's maybe, you know what, that's a big, Chip, that's a big point. Her specifically in the movie,
she was great.
Is maybe the one that puts it over the top.
She's like she is a dream girl. Go ahead, Chip.
Those are old country cans right there.
Those are
the old country cans.
Grass fed.
Those are pure. She hasn't been eating McDonald's chicken nuggets since she was 3 years old. She's been eating sheep milk and homemade pasta. Those things are pure, dude.
Yeah.
Those things are pure. And like you said, the nip angle is unique. You only get that back in a home.
Yeah. Damn right.
Can't import that nipple angle. Can't import that nipple angle, no matter how many have tried.
That's extra virgin.
Yeah.
You ain't getting that in a can of ragu, okay?
No.
It's homemade mozzarella.
Yeah. That's what we call gravy tits.
Old gravy tits.
Which would sound like an insult unless you heard this conversation.
You know what though? But
it's actually a high compliment.
Am I off? Like, you know, a gravy boat that you have for
You're
Thanksgiving? The tits kind of looked a little bit like a gravy boat if you think about it.
Yeah, they had the half pipe kind of thing.
Those tits were right off the boat. Those tits were without papers.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, classic. Hey, well, I mean, you didn't pick the right movie, but you had the right reason. So shout out Apolonia, fan of the show, listener to the show. She
Sorry you got blown up.
Yeah, she was like legit a smoke. Like, forget about it.
So hot.
Oh man, and like just an authentic, all natural, like her in the sundress when he first sees her. Oh my God, forget about it. Oh,
what was her name? What's her real name?
The actress?
Yeah.
I don't know. Justin, you mind looking that up while we keep going?
But no matter what you say, it's going to be Apolonia for the rest of time.
Yeah, for sure. So, all right. So, Chip, well, great answer to that. Love it. So, let's keep it going.
I do want
to
know Chip's. Chip is a chef, so it's well regarded. What is your Cheeto preference? Are you a puff or a crunchy cheese product?
Crunchy.
Everybody's crunchy.
Back in the game.
Only the few and the proud.
No, only the weak and the suspect.
And let's not underplay like all this Apollonia talk. Let's not underplay Diane.
Oh, young Keats, dude. Even a middle-aged Keats, late age.
Don't sleep on her.
I'll tell you what though. I saw a late age. Like what was in the movie? She was in a movie with Jack Nicholson. Like and she showed her nude, and she's like, no.
No, more recent than that. More recent than that.
And I was like, oh damn, she's not like sagging or nothing. Like they showed her completely nude, I think, and I was like, oh shit.
Helen Mirren too. She's she's pretty well put together for an older lady.
Pronounce that.
Yeah.
Simonetta Stefanini.
Simonetta Stefanini.
Love Simonetta Stefanini.
Shout out.
One of my favorites.
Ooh, all timer. Gravy Tits.
What are the odds that they actually found her living in that house and that the actress just never seen them? They're like, hey, we need you to do some stuff for a couple days. And then they're like, all right, we'll see you later.
I wouldn't be surprised if that was like a thing, right? Because it was Coppola, right? Like, who knows? And they shot it in Sicily, didn't they?
Well, she actually got blown up in the car. She's dead.
Yeah.
You didn't know
that?
Yeah.
That was very
method.
That was
that
real.
type of method not usually seen in European actors at the time. So
yeah. Well, shout out to her.
I can do this trick, but I can only do it once.
Yeah.
Shout out Daffy Duck, fan of the show.
Nice. So let's keep it moving. So Chef Chipper here. He is the owner, operator, and head chef at AAA Catering. They just did the ribbon cutting ceremony not long ago. And for those watching on video, you can see the hand-painted mural he has at AAA Catering as our background, right? And as you know, like the way Chef Chip kind of explained this AAA Catering to me, it's kind of like a new spin on catering. And it's almost like $1 billion idea Justin had, but in a better way. So, Chip, give us a little rundown. What do you got going on at AAA, and like, what are some of the things that you're looking forward to doing with the with AAA Catering?
AAA Catering, I've been in it since 2012. Started out over in a social club, rented out over here on the other side of Lansdale, and worked there for the last I worked there from 2012 till this past July, building up a business, building up a great team, building up the infrastructure to be able to come into a brick and mortar space over here on Main Street in Lansdale. And what I did here, 211 West Main Street in Lansdale, build out a large commissary for our food service management and off-premise catering business, a tasting room that I bring clients into, and I can do tastings if they're going to have me cater a wedding or a large corporate event. I have groups come in and do tastings in a tasting room here. New part of the project here for AAA Catering is our retail storefront that's faced out to 211 West Main Street, directly across the street from the Boys and Girls Club.
Love it.
And that's where you're through town. You don't need a whole catering job. You're coming through, you're getting together with a couple friends, you're watching a fight, you need some wings or a tray of pulled pork, broccoli rabe, and rolls, or your wife's driving through town for a baby shower on a Sunday and she needs to pick up a tray of cheese and meat or a sliced fruit tray with moose dip.
Nice.
That's what we'll have out front. We're also really excited to be right in the heart of Main Street next to the Cougar Ball.
Yeah.
Next to the historic Lansdale train station.
Yep.
And front and center for Lansdale Bike Night, Lansdale Car Show, First Friday, you name it, we'll be out there hustling French fries and Barra tacos and burgers and whatever else I can sling for $1 at all those different events.
Dude, that sounds awesome. I can't wait to go there and get some stuff. And for everyone listening, we'll have a link in the description of this episode for AAA Catering for the website. Highly suggest you check it out. Really good stuff. Really a big fan of what he does. And like I've had some of it before and it's pretty damn good. And so, but no, it's but the road he got to get there was a pretty tough road. So we're gonna get down on that soon. Tom, you had a question?
Yeah, what does the AAA stand for? What's AAA? Why AAA catering?
AAA catering came from my dad, and my dad really brought me up and gave me an intense training in the business from a very early age. Me and Dad were out at a restaurant nightclub convention in Vegas, and we were going to catering seminars every morning. They had all kinds of different seminars, bar seminars, promotion seminars, everything you could possibly think of. We were getting into off-premise catering out of his restaurant, Molatiers Cafe. This is 2003, and we started doing off-premise out of Molatiers. And with the changeover of the neighborhood that my dad's tavern was located in, we talk about that later, we had a harder time pulling people into the neighborhood to sell food, which was our product. So we had to start finding ways to take it out and create revenue off premise. We were doing that for a couple of years in the late 90s, early 2000s. My dad had always done it in the different clubs, Sons of Italy, Cannoneers, Big Vets, Little Vets, all these little clubs when they had funerals and whatnot. Me and my brother, Robbie DeFinis, worked for him. We would drag all this stuff all around and set up. And we were at a conference and we got linked up with a guy who was doing 5 or 6 million at the time in 2003 catering in Florida. And the name of his company was AAA Catering. And the reason he named his company that at the time was that was the first one listed in the phone book, in the yellow pages.
Ooh.
We talked to him. He had no,
That's old school.
right?
Yeah.
Old school.
Yeah.
He had no problem with us using it in Pennsylvania. So that's what we named it, AAA Catering. And we were the first in the yellow pages. That got us a lot of hits initially. And that carried over to my current business. And we'll talk about my food service management contracts with the state. And I do food service management contracts with the state. And that helps me because I'm on the top of the state vendors list, listed as AAA Catering. So I get some hits based on that. And it's amazing every time that happens. I know that's my dad smiling down.
Dude, that's like you're getting Google priority before Google was even a thing. Like that's fucking smart, man. That dude, really smart. We should change this to the quadruple A podcast. Maybe we'll get, more hits.
To the AAA podcast.
Nice. No, but that's awesome, man. So nice. Well, let's get started a little bit into some of your backstory now. So like we said, we were born in Abington Hospital, but you grew up on Cannon Avenue in the land of the free, home of the brave, Lansdale, Pennsylvania. You did a little Catholic school to start. You did Catholic school from kindergarten to 5th grade. Something happened 5th grade maybe, and then you went to local middle school for a little while. But then you came back and finished the Catholic high school at LC, which, shout out LC Roundtable, available now on all podcast platforms and YouTube at Works Perspectives Podcast. But, and you would finish your career there at your high school career at Lansdale Catholic. But do you remember what happened? Why did you have to leave the Catholic school initially? Because it was Corpus, right?
Yeah, I was over at Corpus Christi. Still is, and always will be superior to St. Stanislaus, of course.
You're breaking up again, Chip. Sorry, we didn't get that.
Yeah.
I was over there at Corpus Christi. I'll just say I had a tough run, Corpus Christi. I was a rambunctious little kid. There was a lot of clergy still in the classroom back then, especially at Corpus Christi. And a couple years in a row where the different nuns had very structured classrooms. And that was tough for me for the whole day, And then also, too, there was a good amount of teasing going on at that point. And I had a very old school pop who was into go out and kick his ass if he's teasing you. I don't want you to come home and bitch to me that some kid's teasing you. If some kid's teasing you, go and kick his ass. So next thing you know, I'm knocking around with kids nonstop at school because I'm not getting in trouble at home with dad. Mom is beating the shit out of me when I get home.
Right.
But I'm not getting in trouble with dad. And, a really tough year in 5th grade with that. The principal at the time, Sister Joan, she said, I think it's better if the Panicos find another school to go to next year.
Yeah. Hey, man. But no, you're right, though. I think that's something where your dad's right. You have to stick up for yourself. You have to, if someone's giving you shit, you have to give them back. That was the right thing to do, I mean, the nuns, dude, I guess that type of education I think is a little outdated, especially I don't know, I guess we were the beginning of the ADD era, right? But it's so tough to keep a kid in a classroom just like that without being able to beat them. You know what I mean? So it's just crazy. Go ahead, Tom.
So now, Chip, you seem like you know, and from what I've always seen is just this guy that kind of like has like this confidence about him and like this kind of like, you know, I'm the man, like, not that you're like, you know what I mean, but you just seem like confident in yourself and who you are and stuff like that. So you're saying like when you were younger, you're getting picked on, you were having trouble with that, like kids picking on you in school and you didn't know what to do? Is that what was going on? Or
Yeah, and you know, it doesn't take you. It takes you to when you're an adult to figure out like what really was going on. And
right.
one thing I realized I didn't know was happening when I was a kid was, and this is of no one's fault. I have 7 older sisters. I'm the 8th of 9 kids. My brother is the ninth, and my youngest sister is 7 years older than me. So we were like oops babies. My parents had us at the end.
Yeah.
And you know, they had already put 7 girls through school and into college by the time me and my brother were in like fourth grade. And you know what I mean? They were like, yo.
They were checked out, or they were like,
Like,
whatever, get it through, dude.
no, they were
The
like,
nuns
you
were
know,
like, not
they,
another Panico, right?
yeah, pretty much. Like they weren't checked out. They were amazing parents. They were working non-friggin' stop. in a
9
restaurant.
kids.
You know what I mean?
Christ.
That's one thing. They weren't checked out, but they were just like, you know, my pop was like done with coaching CYO after you coach CYO for 7 girls at St. Stan's. You know, they all went through like St. Stan's.
I mean, you probably had
So,
some
you know,
good years though if it was St. Stan's. You know what I mean? Really, probably been
Girls.
very successful. I mean, whatever
Girls.
sport. So,
Ama-
you know,
am-
St.
Amazing
Stan's.
girls program. Amazing girls program.
Yeah. The school just breeds winners, you know.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep. So okay, sorry, I interrupted you. So yeah, your dad's like, it's not they're checked out, they're just fucking busy. They got a ton of, you know, an army of mouths to feed, and then the nuns kind of had it for you. You know, they were your 5th sister really stuck it to them, but sister 6 and 7 really fucking, you know, turned the fucking needle on it. You know what I'm saying?
Also, being an older parent, you're not like in tune to is hip for grade school kids.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's all
So,
hand
like,
me down.
yes, it's a lot.
Especially the first boy too. So not only are you
lot.
not older parents, but now it's like, oh, we have this girls thing down to a science. We know exactly what the girl's going to get into on her first day of kindergarten because this is kind of how it happened. Now you got 2 dudes coming through. I'm sure your folks were like, it's going to be different. Let's try to keep it similar. Like, I think the one thing you get from having that many kids by the end is people say, oh, checked out. And it's like, no, maybe they just knew what to sweat and what not to sweat.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of little stuff. Like, I was the
For
oldest,
sure.
and my mom thought every biggest goddamn deal that was ever going to happen.
Yeah.
And then after only a couple kids, she got a little perspective of like, this in the grand scheme of things, like, really isn't going to, there's no permanent record. Like,
Yeah.
you know, you can't Lord of the Flies it, but it's like, I would imagine after that many kids, you stop worrying about a lot of little minutia that like probably is more stressful, and you know it's not going to lead anywhere.
Yeah.
After
like,
7
you're not-
girls.
Yeah, Justin.
No, yeah. After 7 girls, like they get a phone call from school, and like they're like, "Oh, these kids punch. They apparently these 2 punch each other, and other people. We didn't have this with the other 7 children. Like, these ones punch."
I'm sure. I mean, if they're Panicos, I'm sure your sisters could throw down too, huh, Chip?
My sister could put a black eye on somebody in a vestibule of Maltese Cafe for sure.
Yeah. If they all grew up in the bar life, they knew how to throw down. But
Were
yeah,
the sisters very involved with you and your brother, like as far as, you know, helping you guys, you know, grow up? Because with a big family, it seems like all hands on deck to me a lot of times. You know?
Agreed.
100%. Everybody worked at the bar. Everybody babysat.
They had a
My
whole fucking
oldest-
staff at the
Dude.
bar. Jesus.
Yep.
Baseball
In
team, man.
particular, my oldest sister was 13 when we were born. So in particular, she took like the helm.
She becomes like a third
Also,
parent.
100%. My
Yeah.
oldest sister is like, you know, the third parent to me and my brother. In fact, you know, in those days, like my dad wasn't changing diapers and shit like that.
Yeah.
Or babysitting us or doing any of those things when we were little. My dad was either at work or playing cards or playing softball or playing darts or whatever he was doing. He wasn't changing diapers and pushing a baby stroller around Canada Avenue. So
Yeah.
my oldest sister had us a lot.
Yeah.
We also took a lot of heat being in school at Corpus in particular, and only at Corpus when we were in school, for the family having the bar. Like some parents would like,
because they're like more
we don't
yuppie
want
lace curtain kind of, and they're like, look at these blue collars.
No,
Is that
I just
what it
think
is?
there's a stigma with the bar. I still have it working at a bar today. You know, there's a stigma there. And what's funny is people don't realize bars are a lot of time the cornerstone of neighborhoods.
Yeah.
And you get everyone in there, and the amount of fundraising that happens at bars and community is a lot bigger than people think. But at a Catholic school, I could definitely see why there would be a stigma on the kids, and you kind of felt that weight. But it seems like with the gap there too, you had to figure out a lot of stuff on your own. You know, it's like, all right, I got to figure this out because, you know, your sisters and your parents are busy, and then your sisters really don't know what to exactly tell you because they're still young themselves. So I don't know. It just seems like it could be difficult.
You just learn to keep it moving. You know what I mean? It's a good life lesson. Just keep it moving. Okay, this asshole Matt, parents doesn't want me to come to his house because, you know, my parents work at a bar, and like on Wednesdays I got to do my homework at the bar at the back table because they're both working before scouts. And when I show up at scouts, I smell like Paul Malls because, you know, Tony Boogaloo is like hacking shit on me. But guess what? I'm at scouts, and my Pinewood Derby John sucks because my dad's at the Sons of Italy, but I actually made my shit myself, and my dad didn't you know, make like this turbo car. I made this stupid looking box that's half broken by myself and slapped some paint on it with a
but you did it yourself.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. Yeah, exactly. You know, we got ourselves around. We figured out how to get ourselves to practices. We learned how to be resourceful at a very young age because it was like, yo, mom and dad are working. I was lucky to grow up next to my grandmother, across the street from my other grandmother. My uncle in the house 4 houses down. My great uncle's up the street like 6 blocks. All the bartenders at the bar were like worked there for a long time. They were close friends. So if I needed a ride, I would call them sometimes and be like, hey, can you drop you working at 6? Okay. Would you mind like swinging by at 5:45 and just running me up to the boys club?
Yeah. It's great for Halloween too.
Oh, dude,
solid family connect. They know you're coming. They probably prep a little more. Sorry.
Halloween at the bar in those days, in that neighborhood, and you guys know there's 18 bars in that neighborhood. It was a thing where you would just go into every bar, Cannoneer, Sons, Volunteers, Eagles Club, on Halloween and go around the bar. Every bar had like a case of Snickers there for you, like a big boy, you know, and then every, you know, barfly you'd fleece for like $1.
Yeah. The good old days. What was your dad?
I also grew up in Wilkes-Barre. Yeah, we used to trick or treat at the bars. Absolutely.
Yeah,
because they were everywhere. It was so funny learning that not everyone trick or treated at bars. I was like, well, why would you even go down that street? There's 4 bars and 3 churches. Like, hit them up. Hit them up.
The bar's like, you're going to be a future customer one day. You're going to need to get the lay of the land of this place.
Exactly.
You know,
in a neighborhood place like ours, % true. You're like, yo, you want this kid to know, like, hey, this place is cool. So when they're 21, they're like, yo, let's go over here.
Recognition.
You got the big candy bars from there.
Yeah, they were great. The one guy, he was blowing Palm Mall in my face, but he gave me $1. He was great.
How much money did you make as a kid at those bars? I think my kid comes to work and he leaves with like $12 every time. Like, what the hell? Dude? Like we literally walk through the bar and everyone just starts throwing him money, and I'm like, yo, give me some of that, dude.
Yeah. That happens at my mother-in-law's salon too. Like I'll bring my daughter there, and all the old women are like, here, give this to her. Give this to her. Here you go, sweetie. I was like, don't fucking touch her. Don't look at her, but I'll take your money. All right, here you go. But yeah, no, dude, what was your dad's like after 7 girls, he's like, all right, I guess I'm not getting a boy. I guess it's all girls for me. And then 6 years later, 7 years later, pops out his first son. He's like, oh, all right, 1 for 8. Oh, 2 for 9. Like he must have been a little excited to get a boy finally after. Like, imagine living in a house with 8 women. I don't want I had one sister, and it was the fucking worst. It was the worst. How much Anne of Avonlea did you guys watch at your fucking house? Anne of Green Gables? All of that bullshit? The
Thornbirds, dog. The Thornbirds.
Yeah.
The way it shook out with my grandfather's generation and his brothers and sisters down to my dad's generation and their cousins, all the lines went down to women, and the name Panico was just my dad, and there was going to be no more Panicos coming out of that line of the tree.
Yeah.
And then my dad had 7 girls. So they had assumed that line and that lineage, that name of the tree Panico was just going to dry up. And then my dad finally had me out of nowhere. And when my dad had me, his
shout out your dad, shoot or shoot,
and uncles, oh dude, big sling. My aunts and uncles threw a christening party for me with 200 people at the Warrington Country Club because the name had made it to the next generation.
Oh, wow.
And yes, it was a huge old school Italian affair with a giant white cake and a giant lion stuffed animal when you came in there that said the king is born and all this stuff.
Oh, wow.
They were just so happy that the name made it to the next generation.
Dude, that is great. That's some old school, like Apolonia Gravy Tits kind of shit, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's fucking awesome.
Hey.
So
wait, Chip.
Chip,
So,
how many daughters?
2.
you have a
Any
son, though,
sons?
right?
2 boys, 2 girls.
All right. I was getting ready
Same
for you
as
to
a
say like
chance.
6 girls straight in a row. We're gonna keep firing away. Now the pressure's on me.
Yeah. Nice. Tom, what were you gonna say?
Is Chip your like birth
It's Al-
certificate name?
No, it's
or
Alfred.
Alfred. Where does Chip come from?
My government name?
Yeah, you go ahead.
I'm named Alfred after my grandfather.
Hell
That
yeah.
was another big thing with this getting the name to the next generation.
He wanted to be the first in the
that-
phone book, or
I love it.
Oh, that's great.
Nice. That was strong. Strong,
Nice.
Tommy.
Good
So,
shout.
so where did Chip come from? I'm sorry.
Chip comes
Chip
from I was born on bingo night. My mom and her friends were big bingo volunteers at state stands.
Yep.
And I was born on bingo night. My mom was doing her makeup, getting ready for bingo, and she went into labor. And you guys remember the old school before they had the blotters? They
Yeah.
had bingo chips,
Chips.
Yeah.
right? When they called B9, you'd put a little chip on B9, and they'd give you
Yeah.
a bunch of and that's how you had your bingo. So they named me Bingo after Bingo Chip.
No
Shut the
shit.
fuck up. Wow. Bingo night was big at St. Stan's. I remember bingo night.
Dude, bingo
They
night
had the
was
big,
poppin'.
they had the big, it almost
Tumbler.
looked like a, I don't know, like a sign you'd had
It was like a
outside of
scoreboard.
Yeah, it was like
Yeah.
a huge bingo scoreboard.
But anyway, so wait, your mom, her water breaks on bingo night. She's got
Was
the
she
chip.
at bingo night and it broke and like, or she's like,
She's
I gotta go.
doing her makeup on the way, right?
She's doing her makeup at the house. Her
Yeah.
girlfriends are downstairs.
Yeah.
My dad's at the Sons of Italy playing cards,
Yep.
right? I'm kid number 8. My dad
Yeah.
said, call me when you're on the table. Take her to the
I've been
hospital.
through
Call
this.
me when you're on the table.
Oh, that's great.
Wow.
He's like, yeah, it's not my first day at the rodeo.
Nah,
So
call me when you're at the table.
nice. So, okay. So like we said, you left Catholic school, then you went to like the local public school for a little bit. And then, was that when you started playing football, or when did you start playing football?
I played football since young age, first,
Yeah.
second grade.
Yeah. So
You
did
know.
you play Cannoneers?
Yep. Yeah.
Damn
We always
right.
had,
Best.
strong midgets.
Cannoneers is the best. But yeah, so you did like the baseball thing, the CYO basketball kind of gimmick, like the Little League and all that stuff. But really, football is what you clung to, right? That became that's like your big one. And so you're doing the football, like you get through middle school. Did you play football in middle school?
Yeah, I played up through Cannoneers through 6th grade.
Yeah.
7th grade, I couldn't make weight on Cannoneers. I had to switch over to Squires for that last year.
Yeah.
Which you guys know because you're in the area, but that's a big rivalry. So I had to
Yeah.
go from like, hey,
Yeah.
whenever year before, I was the captain of the Cannoneers team.
Yeah.
And then I had to go over to North Penn Squires and be the captain of that team. And the
Yeah.
kids that were already on Squires for like 4 years are like, yo, why is this kid captain? And I'm like, yo, the coach made me captain. What do you want from me?
Yeah. Yeah. I showed up and they put me
but-
out here. What do you want?
If you guys remember, like the Squires is made up with like Barrow kids from North Wales.
Yeah.
And then they'd also have like some whiny punks from across 202 that went to Wissahickon School District.
Yeah. Oh, you had some Montgomeryville fucking noodles over there for sure.
Well,
Yeah.
not even Montgomeryville,
Wissahickon.
because they were at least in like
Yeah. You're like the
North Wales.
Gwynedd kind
But
of
if you go
area.
down, yes, if you go down Hancock and you cross 202, that's
Yeah.
Wissahickon School District right
Yeah. Dude,
there.
and those
Whitby,
homes.
and you'd have kids come from over there. Son,
Oh,
they'd invite us to their parties over there, and we were like, holy shit, dude, don't invite any
Yeah.
other kids from Lansdale and get trash.
yeah. Dude, I remember speaking of Justin, Spud told me a story one time where your dad dropped him and John Deary off at a house back in like by the Gwynedd, like up Hancock, in those
Yeah.
like $1 million homes back there. And your dad dropped him off in the car and was like, am I even allowed to pull up in my car, like in this shitty car to this house? Like, what are they thinking? Like,
Not
like,
allowed in the driveway.
yeah, like that's how nice the homes are. So you're saying you're getting some whiny yups from, the the nice part of town over to play that are a bunch of powder puffs, right?
Yeah, I had a little bit of a tough time winning those cats over.
Yeah.
But we had a really fun time, and we had an amazing coaching staff, and we had this one older coach, and he was from like leather helmet days.
Oh,
right.
Badass.
And he might have played it like, I don't want to say I don't know if he played college or what. He was a hell of an athlete, older black gentleman, and he was a beast. And he had like leather, he would bring his leather helmet out.
Yeah.
And he rode my ass, but he rode my ass because he liked me. I could tell that, even though it was only like 13.
Yeah.
And then that was great. And then middle school, I played football at Pembroke.
Nice.
In 8th grade, it was the same year that J-Dub mentioned the strike.
Yeah.
The strike year. It did last like 8 or 9 weeks.
Yeah.
But he's right. It went into November because we went to school for like 3 weeks first. We went to school for like September.
Yeah.
And then like the last week of September, they shut it down, and we were off September, all of October, and like the first week or two of November. And the next thing you know, it was like Thanksgiving, and the next thing you know, it was like a blizzard in 95.
Yeah.
So we missed so much school that year.
Oh, dude.
But
I remember we had to go to school till I think the end of June, pretty much.
Yeah, June 29th, I think. Tom's birthday. Yeah, I remember that. Because I remember like Alan's like we've been out of school for like, we got out June 10th or June 11th or whatever. And then I remember Alan was still in school, and then like you guys got out of school, and then it's the 4th of July. And I'm like, oh my God, your guys' summer's like over, but either way. So nice. So cool. So you play football all the way through middle school. You're doing well. You're liking it. Then you make the transition back to Catholic school, and you went to LC, Lansdale Catholic, and you started playing there. Did you play freshman ball there?
Yeah, our freshman team went like 0-7.
Yeah, I played freshman
ball
there.
We got our ass kicked.
We
either got our ass kicked or we were very close, and the coach would like sub in kids that he knew was going to get. Yeah, and we would like lose a game closely because we put the scrubs in. It's like, yo, let us win one.
Yeah.
He was trying to like teach us a lesson, and I'm like, this isn't working.
Yeah. Yeah. We had
a lot of fun. We had a good crew.
Yeah, I remember when I played freshman ball, it was great. We had a decent team. We had I think we were like 5-2 or something, right? Like we were pretty decent. And or I think we had a tie, but either way, Anthony was the quarterback, Anthony Byers, and he would end up being like a starter like the next or in a couple of years, but he was really good. So we had like a decent team, and we were going to play the local public school that year. And the year before, the 9th grade team had beaten the public school team, and it was like a big thing. Shout out Finelli, fan of the show, listen to the show. And but then we ended up playing them and got smoked like 42-0. It was so brutal. It was awful, man. Everyone on their team scored except for us. It was like, we didn't score, but every one of their people scored. So nice. So then let's get into it then. So you get into LC, and that's kind of really where like you've been working at the bar the whole time, right? But then like you're also working at the bar. You're also lifting heavy for football. Then you're also like working at the Boys and Girls Club. And like doing all this stuff, man, like where did you find the time? Because you were just nonstop, like doing it all and like cutting all the sleeves off your t-shirt and just doing the thing. You know what I'm saying? Back then, I don't think no one had the sleeves left on their t-shirts. They were gone. See you. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so you're working. So like, kind of like, give us a rundown. You really hit the weights heavy, and you went to like a special like guy, a lifting coach, right? And I know Scott went to the same place, Scott Keating, and he went to the same place with him and his brother Joe. So let me know, what was that like, and how did you like the training for football at LC and like the boys club and everything? Go ahead.
I always worked, like you said, through grade school. I worked a lot. I had like a 40-hour-a-week job when I was in 6th grade. Always working. Family was hard workers, like I touched on. My parents were always working, and I really enjoyed working at the bar. At a very young age, I enjoyed the immediate positive response when you brought someone good service and a good product. When I was like 14 years old, I made Steve Carlton a BL. And he said, "This is good, kid." And I'm like, "Yo, Steve Carlton, lefty, just told me it was good, kid."
Nice.
And there was really a lot of characters in the neighborhood, and a lot of characters came through. My dad had a couple side hustles and had a couple professional athletes like Steve Carlton, Jaws, Flyers alumni. A lot of these guys would come into the bar. Larry Boa, all kinds of guys. So it was just fun. There was always action. It was a lot funner than being at home doing nothing while my parents are at work and I'm with like grandma and watching Nickelodeon. So as soon as I could be at the bar as much as I could, I was always over there working in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And, in the middle school, starting to manage adults that are in their 30s, late 20s, mid 30s, as a kid in junior high school, I really just took off with it. That sort of work ethic combined with the atmosphere that was going on with C and their football team at the time, that really led to me getting into working out and lifting and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they kind of just went hand in hand, both working and working out. I started working at the Boys and Girls Club with Rob DeFinis. That was just sort of like a passion project that turned into a job. The Boys and Girls Club was a place where you guys know if your parents worked all the time, you could be there for cheap. It cost $20 to go there for an entire year. The hours were Monday through Friday from 2 o'clock to 9 o'clock at night. You could literally be there 35 hours a week for $20 a year.
Yeah, it was and they had like they had the leagues there for basketball and like they dude, I love too. It's like it seemed like all the local bars would donate stuff. Like they had a shuffleboard in there that was fucking awesome, right? The shuffleboard was off the charts. They had ping pong, they had pool, right? But then they had like two
Bumper
gyms. Bumper bowl, and they had like they had all that stuff. They had like
I hated their court. I hated their basketball court.
The new one. Remember? Did you ever see
it?
The
Was like
the
tiles. Yeah, it was like you'd bounce the ball.
Central.
No, but there were so many dead spots. You're like bouncing the ball, and the ball just like started. Like, what is happening here?
But it was fun. It was fun because it was like it was an eclectic group of people. But so you're hanging out like
hey,
what?
Chip, sorry.
Go ahead, Tom.
At the bar, we got at the bar I work at. There's so many different characters, and there's a lot of different nicknames. You got any memorable nicknames of the people that used to hang at the bar when you were younger?
Well, it was Moliteers when you were a kid, right?
Oh yeah, I can tell you a million of them.
Do you remember the softball? Sorry to interrupt. Keep going? Sorry, I'll ask you this later.
All right.
Nicknames. One of the best nicknames and one of the best characters that hung in Moliteers was a guy named Johnny Flowers. Johnny Flowers, right? Johnny Florentino. We call him Johnny Flowers. Johnny Florentino was best friends with my dad the entire time coming up, to the point where he would always tell me a story that him and my dad, they stole a bottle of Canadian Club from the bar when they were 9, drank it underneath my grandma's back porch and drank themselves sick when they were 9 years old, splitting a bottle of Canadian Club and throwing up. And he probably drank a bottle of Canadian Club every day thereafter for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
Dude, classic grifter, hustler. Him and my dad had a lot of side hustles. They did a lot of promotions with sports cards, sports memorabilia, and sports card shows in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
And he hung at the track a lot, and he dressed like he was a grifter, and he drove cars that a drifter would drive, and he blasted 4 packs of cigarettes a day. And he lived around here through like mid 80s, and then he moved out to Vegas, and he managed a sports book called the Hacienda in Las Vegas.
What?
For maybe like 15 years, and maybe 10 years. And then when I was about 13 or so, a little bit younger, 12 years old, he moved back into town, and him and my dad just kind of picked up where they left off. That's when they were getting into these card shows and shit, when I was like 11, 12, 13 years old. And we'd be going all over the state, South Jersey, Delaware, North Jersey, running baseball card shows where we would have like 100 baseball card vendors in there that would spend like $100, $200 on the table to sell their wares. And then we would hire in professional athletes to come in and sign autographs. And then everybody that comes in, they get $5 door charge. And if you want to get the autograph, that costs you $8. And if you don't have anything to get autographed, my dad had like 150 Ron Jaworski 8x10 glossies that you bought for $10 that you sell on there. And then me and Rob DeFinis, we used to go and carry all the shit. We'd wake up 5 a.m, go with my dad. My dad would close down the bar. Well, he would work till maybe like 11, come home, get a couple hours sleep, wake up 5 a.m, we'd go do this. We'd take whatever he was selling and we were selling in a couple station wagons with Johnny Flowers, and we'd set all this shit up. And then for doing all the legwork, me and DeFinis, we would get a table in his card show. We had a ton of shit. And we didn't have the overhead that like a grown male would have. We were like 13, 14 years old. So we would maybe pull in a couple $100 on a Saturday at these shows.
Damn.
They would teach us all kinds of little grifts. Like if I was selling a baseball card and somebody was looking at it on the other side of my table, Johnny Flowers would come behind that customer and he would say, "Oh, what's that? Griffey rookie, $40? Oh, that's a good deal. That's a good deal. The other guy's selling it for $55."
Yeah.
So you
yeah.
worked
You know?
them. They were working them.
And he would teach us like it works. And
Johnny Flowers.
yeah,
Shout out.
Johnny Flowers was a wild character. I could tell you a million more. You guys are familiar with Bubba Defendants. We could spend the whole show
I know,
on him.
dude. Bubba
alone.
was my mentor. He taught me how to bartend. He was and Bern knows him too. And I think I told you this when you were on the show before. But yeah, Bub was like, he's the fucking man, dude. He got me in at Vinny's and at Vinny T's. And he was like, dude, just such a good dude. Taught me a lot. Really nice guy, and like kind of looked out for me. Really awesome.
He was such a pro, dude. Yeah, like he was one of those dudes who like
pro.
that he looked crisp. He looked sharp. Like he was one of those dudes who was like, "You're showing up to work. You better look like you're supposed to be there." Like he was a very much a not cut corners guy. He'd be like, "No, can't cut the corners. The corners are what matter. You know, it's the devil's in the details." Yeah, I remember Bubs. I haven't talked about Bubs in a long time, but he was a good dude.
Yeah, really cool.
I didn't know him nearly as well as you.
He was, I remember one of the big things he said it was $1 a minute. He's like, for every minute I talk to this guy, I'm getting $1, right? So like he was huge on like striking up the conversation. And Chip, you probably know this. He was great at creating a conversation at the bar, right? Where it's like, you got one guy here, one guy there. They don't know each other from Adam, right? But you start with the one guy, you get the other guy going, then you get the other guy going, then you're out of the picture. They're all having a great time, having drinks and leaving money and you know, hanging out. And he was like the master at that. And just like getting, you know, turning things over. He could work well, but Vern was right. Appearance, he was massive. He's like, you got to be shaved. Your hair's got to be good. You got to be a nice shirt. Like you can't be wearing no wrinkled shirt. You got to be crisp, clean, looking sharp. And like he wasn't wrong. He knew what he was doing. But yeah. So yeah, Bubs is a ledge. Bubs is a total ledge, big time. But yeah, no. So
one lesson that Bubba taught me of many was it was the night that Cal Ripken broke the Iron Man record, right? It was a Sunday night. He broke the Iron Man record. It was me, Bubba, Johnny Flowers were in the bar. I was in the kitchen by myself, like already at that age, junior high school.
Yeah.
On a Sunday night in the summer, I was by myself in the kitchen all night.
Yeah.
And I had like everything turned off. I was just waiting till the end of that game for the fireworks to go next door to my grandma's to go to take my shower and go to bed.
Yeah.
And guy came in, unkempt a little bit, ordered a mug of who knows what at that time. There was no micro brews or any of that bullshit.
Yeah.
Jenny Cream. Let's say Jenny Cream.
Dude got his mug of Bush or whatever. And he's like, order Mozzie sticks. And I'm like, oh fuck, dude. I had to go back there. Fryers were turned off, but they were still hot. So I had to turn them on, wait like 2 minutes from the heat back up to temp, make the Mozzie sticks, do them. Then I had to wipe the serving board again, all that shit, bring them out.
Yeah.
Take the spaghetti sauce out of the refrigerator, take a Dixie cup, put it in the microwave, you know, all that bullshit.
Yeah.
Shit. You know what I'm talking about, Tom.
Yeah.
And
clean the microwave.
I brought them out and dude, because it's splattered.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm working with my grandma. My grandma's in there 6 a.m. She comes in, she inspects me. That's why I'm good now, because she would come in and see what I did wrong the night before, and she'd be the first one to heckle me the next morning. So yeah, clean the microwave off if it splatters, all that shit to make this guy a $3 order of Monty sticks. I said, Bubba, what a pain in the ass for $3 for Monty sticks. He said, Chipper, listen, you don't always make $1 million. Sometimes you just put the money in the cash. It's just your job to put the money in a cash register. Because you got to just pay bills, man. You got to pay the lights. You got to pay the gas. You got to pay all that shit. You got to put money in the register. Once the bills are paid, then you make money. And little jobs lead to big jobs. You make somebody like a cheeseburger really good, or Steve Carlton, you make them out of this world BLT. You never know where that's going to lead down the line.
Fuck yeah.
Dude, that is so true. I say
100%.
that to people like when they're first starting. I said, look, the most important thing is what goes in this register. The more money in that register, the more money we all make because in the bar, especially, people think like, oh, I got to give a drink to this person to make them feel, or it's like, no, you got to put the money in the register.
Damn right.
That's how we all get money. The more in there, the more you're gonna get.
Yeah, don't be giving away the bar. God damn. And
Oh,
I
that's
mean,
a good lesson.
yeah, no, that's a great lesson.
Hell no.
Awesome. Yeah, shout out, Bubs.
You
Fucking
still into
lives.
you still into cards or anything like that? Because they made a huge comeback the last couple of years. I mean, cards is
I know
out of control right now.
Pokemon is like the big gimmicks now, right?
And the old
Pokemon?
No,
Marvel
even
cards.
sports.
All sports cards,
All-
man.
all
It's
sports cards.
big. Oh yeah.
Yeah, people got really bored during the pandemic and just started buying things online. But yeah, the sports card and memorabilia industry right now, I think, is hotter than it's probably been in like 20, 25 years.
Oh, shit.
Because now the companies realize that, like you said, everybody gets a Ken Griffey rookie card, but then when you realize like, oh fuck, 80,000 of these,
Mhm.
shit, that's not worth that much. So the card companies are much more discerning now too about
Right.
they're not mass producing so much, so there is rarity and there is value. And it wasn't always like a bad gift, but there are some guys you look back on and be like, why is his rookie card so cheap? It's because Topps made 9 of the different ones and Fleer made 10 different ones and Upper Deck made 7 of them, and everybody has 1 or 2 of them who's interested. So like, well, you're right, Tommy. It's hit a real. I mean, we're selling fake things like NFTs and stuff. So yeah, of course, something you can actually hold in your hand is gonna,
Yeah,
be a little more verifiable.
Well,
Yeah.
because I remember going to was it Lansdale Sports Cards? I love
Yeah.
that place. I
Big
loved
time.
going there and looking at all the cards and like because Matt, I don't think they had that in California when we were there, and so that was like kind of the culture of coming to like a suburb of Philadelphia and just like sports in general and the East Coast vibe. It just meant more, and so all that stuff meant more here, and it was like, we got into that world and it was like, oh, this is awesome. This is so cool. Like the stuff that we like is more important here. But I didn't know if that the guy Flowers involved or your dad with Lansdale sports card.
I remember I used to collect pennant. Remember, I had a ton of pennants.
Yeah.
My whole room was covered in pennant. Yeah,
Very cool.
yeah. So
Well, no, my dad wouldn't buy off of Lansdale cards or Don's discount cards was the other one. My dad would buy off a wholesaler out of Hatboro, and he would also buy a lot of factory direct stuff. Like my dad, if he was buying something, he wouldn't buy a box, he wouldn't buy a pack, he wouldn't buy a box, he would buy a case.
yeah.
And then he would break that case apart and make set, and then he would sell the single. And then whatever crumbs fell off his table, I'd collect, and then that's what I would sell. Because what do I give a shit? Like common cards that were falling off my dad's table. So do you guys remember they would make like grab packs?
Yeah.
Where like the front would be like the front card was Jose Canseco. The
Yeah.
back card was Ricky Henderson. The 25 cards in the middle were worth like a penny. So the whole thing,
Yeah.
we're trash. We're
Yeah.
trash, right? So I would sell that for $1. I would have 25 cards for $1 because these were literally just like crumbs that fell off my dad's table. They were just commons that he didn't give a shit about. So I would bag them up in a little bag. I'd put a piece of tape on it so they couldn't open them up. The front was Ricky Henderson. The back was Jose Canseco. It's $1. It's $1. So there are grown men there shopping for things, and they're looking for shit to buy their kids to shut them up, right? So that's what we call a come on. That's like, come on over to my table. I got grab bags for $1. Give your kid 5 grab bags. They get 200 cards for $5 or $8. While you're here,
right? But they don't care how much they're
while
worth.
you're
They just know
here,
they have 100 cards now.
They have 100 cards. The 100 cards was the value.
That's all that matters,
dude.
Yeah.
I would take the 40 bags from the bar. You need a bag, sir? Here, your kid can open all these up right now and fuck around with them. You can throw them in this bag. Take the 40 bags, brown bags from the bar. Give him a fucking bag. Give the kid a bag. There you go. And then I would have a case where I would have cards that were nicer that I bought with all these $2 that I saved up. And
Chip, how much did you charge them for the 40s bags?
Dude, a dime.
Yeah.
Dime, son. So,
Nice.
I'm not into cards anymore. Cards is different now. Cards is like Burns, you was saying, it's like limited edition stuff.
Yeah.
You get a pack of cards. There's like 5 baseball cards.
Yep, it's crazy now. My
And
brother
you're
got
hoping-
into it. So
Yeah,
weird.
you're hoping for subsets. You're trying to get all subsets,
They're
or you're trying to get a
expensive.
wow. It's wild.
Single
It's wild.
pack of cards, $40. A case, $600 for football cards. You're like,
with no
what?
guarantee.
No
With no-
guarantees, but you're hoping you get a piece of Tom Brady's jersey in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so
Right.
those $600 packs will have a guaranteed jersey in it, but it doesn't guarantee the player. It could be Andre Dillard, and you're like, oh,
Right.
I got Reno Mahe's jersey.
yeah. I gotta,
Yeah,
but, yeah.
Cards
It's
are
been-
different now. For sure.
Yeah, because like that. So now they destroy whatever's not sold at the end of the season. They destroy all of it, and then whatever's been sold is all that exists, and they keep track of those numbers. So there is.
Oh, is that true?
Limited.
They destroy them.
Panini, right? Is it Panini?
It's Panini. Yeah.
They destroy everything that isn't sold in their factory. You can't buy after a certain date. Once they start printing the new ones, that's it. So there's only so many Luka Doncic rookies, you know?
Right.
Ooh,
where Derek Jeter, where everyone's like, oh, Derek Jeter rookie's got to be worth a lot. Yeah. No, there's 12 million Derek Jeter rookie cards. Yep. They're worth $7.
Every company made 7 different ones. Pinnacle made 6 of them. Upper Deck made 5 of them. Fleer made 12 of them. Yeah.
So that's you just have to buy all 12 million of them.
Yeah,
that's the idea. I mean,
the 90s flooded the market.
Yeah,
right. So that was the mistake they made, and that's why
for a little while.
It was there, and then it disappeared, and they're like, "What happened to the cards?" You know?
Yeah, flooded the market.
But it makes sense now that it's back as a profitable thing because it's like now that market flood is gone. You know what I mean? And so now you're starting from scratch as long as they're jdub. I did not know that. I did not know that burnt their stock at the end of the year.
I've got a feeling.
What a strong gimmick, though.
I got a feeling Johnny Flowers had this groundwork laid out, and they're just
come on right
his
there.
Plan,
that's a Johnny Flowers style.
That's a Johnny Flowers.
Buy this pack, or else I'm going to light it on fire.
Nice.
Maybe it's worth a bunch of money.
So, all right. So let's get back to
let me tell you.
Ahead.
Johnny Flowers, the one summer he moved back from Las Vegas was the same summer my dad moved off of Cannon Avenue and bought his house in Upper Gwinnett with like an acre of land and a pool and shit. And Johnny Flowers, for like 4 months, moved back home, lived with his sister. And he was like the caretaker. My grandfather joked, "You're the caretaker," because all he did for 4 months was like sun himself at our pool, walk around with flip flops, just blasting cigarettes and slamming drinks all day. And it was just like, how does Johnny Flowers? Like Johnny Flowers doesn't need a job, man. You know, and like in like 5th, 4th grade, I realized I'm like, no, Flowers is a G, man. Like, he don't do shit all day but sun himself.
Did basically I don't know if you want to cut, but did your dad and Johnny Flowers have a book or something like that? Is that what's going on here?
No, my dad was a horrible gambler. He never ran a book. He just had another 100 other million side things going on.
Oh, okay.
But Johnny my dad never ran a book.
Flowers seems like a guy that had a book, you know?
Oh, hell yeah. He was doing whatever he could to grab money, dude.
Flowers doesn't sound like the guy who ran a book. He sounds like the kind of guy who brought people to the book. Like Flowers sounds like I don't have to do too much work here. Okay. I have tanning in a little while, but I'm gonna walk 3 fish into this place, and you guys
I'll bring you customers. I just get to keep the vig.
Yeah.
Johnny Flowers came home. It coincided. My dad changing the bar from an Italian restaurant to a sports bar with all those TVs and NFL Sunday ticket. And he was the first guy, anyone around here, to have like 8 satellite dishes and every single game won out, which is now very common. But in 1993,
unheard of,
very
man.
Rare.
Unheard of.
And for maybe like 10 years, that was unheard of, to be perfectly honest with you. For like 10 years, I'm talking like 25 box TVs in the place and a very intricate cable system to run it all. Right now, it's very easy to do that. But he was the first one on that, and we had a lot of gamblers in the bar on Saturdays and Sundays because of that. And we had a system that faxed us like every day. It faxed you every single game you could possibly get on DirecTV, and we had an old school big satellite and all this shit. It came from a sports book service, so you could say like, "Oh, I want to see like UTEP versus
Nevada
North
State."
Texas." Yeah. Where's that on? Oh, it's over here on G487 on the big dish. Okay.
How do I get Squires Cannoneers? The game's at 3:00.
Yeah. Nice. So so let's
Chip over under on coaxial splitters that existed. Those little things that would have in that bar. I'm gonna say
ABC
150 over under.
Yeah.
ABC. Dude, we had at least 50 of those things, man.
The wiring
ABC,
must have been
insane.
insane.
A, B, or C? Is it on A, B, or C? It's on C. Put C. Program C. It's a big satellite channel G87, so they can watch the Calgary Stampede versus the Quebec Argonauts or whatever. Oh my God, man.
Dude, that's crazy. They were way ahead of the fucking game then.
For sure.
Way ahead of the game. My dad, when the at the beginning of NFL.com, you could go on there and you could register yourself as a team bar. Like, this is your team bar.
Yeah.
The team bar for the Detroit Lions in Philadelphia area is Molunteers Cafe in North Cannon Avenue, Lansdale, PA. So he had my mom do that for every single team. We were registered as the Bengals bar. And you wouldn't get a ton of people, but you know, the more popular teams you'd get in. You'd get like 8 Steelers fans if they were good. You'd get two people every week for the Lions. You'd get a couple of lesbians that came in every single week for the Browns when the Browns came back. This is going into the early 2000s.
Yeah. Big fan of Tim Couch.
You know, exactly, dude. They were great.
Derek Anderson.
You know, so they would put different people in our place. And then once they're there, that would drag them in. But once they're there, it's up to you to perform like great service and give them a good product.
Yep.
So then you got them on the hook all the time.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not worth the damn if they don't come back.
You
know?
Yeah.
No. It's like, we want to be your place. So,
Yeah.
you know, every week it would be different, but we had a steady following, and that's how people would find us. And then it was, you know, oh shit, we live in Horsham. Well, we can go over here to watch the Browns.
Mhm.
Yeah, we had one couple that came in for years.
The
to watch the
Oilers.
Browns. And we evolved through that. And he had a big sports book, like you said. We had a coat room in there with 2 telephones. And this is pre-cell phone. This is pre-FanDuel, any of that shit. So you're on a phone calling it in.
Jesus.
He had 2 phones that were just open for customer use to take care of their business. You
Nice.
know, his game was beer. He didn't get into running a book because his game was beer. He didn't mind a book being run out of.
Were they
books good
payphones
for
or were they
business
free?
back then.
What was
Were
that,
they
Brian?
payphones? Were they payphones?
No, dude.
See, that's
that's
customer service.
Fuck
That's
yeah.
not even payphones. 2 set up landlines. You don't need to have a bag, because I've seen the guy with the bag full of quarters too. But that's customer service right there.
What
we
brings in
had 2
business?
landlines. We had 2 landlines. They had their own number, separate from the bar number. And then we also did have a payphone out in the vestibule. And this is from a guy that was so cheap, we didn't even have pole waiting in our house.
With 7 girls. With 7 girls.
Yeah.
Oh my God, the phone bill. I can't blame him that. 7 daughters. The phone bill has to be, oh my God.
Oof.
But
Back
that's
then,
the real difference between customer service, right? A lot of guys have 3 phones in their bar. Chip's dad knew that, but 2 of them have to be free.
Yeah.
Okay, trust me, it's gonna be okay. We don't need the cord. We're doing something different here.
Yeah.
We have every game.
Nice. So, all right. So let's keep moving then. So, Chip, you're coming into like your senior year and you're hanging out at the boys club. You would get injured your senior year playing football, and then that's when Scott would come in, right? And he told us that story on his episode. Shout out to you a lot, even on the LC Roundtable, about being a mentor and looking out for him and stuff. But that's something you kind of always did. And like, even when you were at the Boys and Girls Club, there'd be times when you're like, you know, hanging out with like, you kind of took like the less privileged kids and like kind of took them under their wing and stuff like that. So do you remember a couple times like at the Boys and Girls Club when you would hang out with like maybe the kids that didn't have as much as the other kids?
Yeah, Boys Club, as we affectionately called it, but the Boys and Girls Club as it's known, there was a lot of kids there. It was a mixed bag, man. Mixed bag. You had kids there whose parents were on the board there that were maybe like a little bit more affluent every once in a while. You had kids there that were like middle of the road like me. I had some pretty good parents and a solid family life, but their parents are just working all the time. So it's positive place for kids, like the catchphrase was when we were kids, you know, positive place for kids. You be in there, it's air conditioned.
Yeah.
Okay. Lansdale in the summer, when you're living in a row home on Cannon Avenue with little old Italian ladies that aren't running their air conditioning, or your options are that or being in the kitchen at a bar. Anytime you have the opportunity to be in the air conditioning of the Boys and Girls Club, you're there.
Damn
so
right.
as soon as I could start riding my bike, checking myself in there, that's where I was with my free time. It's in the neighborhood. And I started spending a lot of time there as a kid. Like I said, it'd be a mixed bag. There'd be middle of the road kids, and then there'd be some kids who came from some pretty checkered backgrounds. And, you know, it's a lot of social service programs run through the Boys and Girls Club. So there's a lot of kids that's maybe the most positive, safest place for them to be at.
Yeah.
Keep you out of trouble.
Yeah.
You know, so I saw that as a kid with friends of mine that were there. I had the opportunity, like you guys did too, to spend a lot of time with older kids there. Kids that were older than me, Jody Johnson, Jake Dawson, John Algio, Sean Moser. These guys, when I looked at them when I was in junior high, they were the jack kids playing ball. They had their names in the papers.
Yeah.
They were blasting me in the face with dodgeballs.
Yeah.
And they were taking me under their wing and letting me do stuff there. They were giving me responsibilities there at the club. And I started doing some volunteering at the club. And they eventually asked me to work there. And that was a great opportunity because I was already working at the bar. I knew hard work. Working at the boys club was cake compared to working at the bar. I've been working at the bar hard as hell for years already. And I'm like, oh, you want to pay me the same thing my dad pays me to shoot hoops and play dodgeball.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
My dad is literally like making me carry bus buckets of plates and shit around. They're heavy as hell.
Yeah.
That I have no right carrying at the age of like 14, but you want me to like,
He had you put a fryer on top of the basement stairs, right? And that's how, just be careful when you go down there. Don't let the fryer spill on you, right?
Yeah, don't let the fryer drip on the back of your shoulders when you run down the steps to get something.
Yeah.
So we started working at the Boys and Girls Club, and I don't know what it was, but some kids there that you see, you're in high school, you see kids that are 8, 10, 11 years old.
Yeah.
Some of their parents are a little rough. Now you're becoming a little bit more aware of your surroundings. You're like, oh wow, like I know this guy's mom and or dad from X, Y, or Z tavern in town. They're there like 5 nights a week, late night. This kid maybe needs a little extra attention over here, a little positivity, a little somebody pushing them a little bit in a good way. And some kids had really hard stories. So in those days in the 90s, there were no background checks. It was a lot less of that, a lot less things to be worried about maybe, or a lot less things on the news to be worried about. So it would be nothing for us to like take some of these kids on the weekends and, hey, this kid was good in the club for like a week or two. We're going to shoot him out to the movies. We're going to, this, maybe it's like a little tough for mom or dad to get them to the movie, buy them a popcorn, buy them a milk dud, get them a cherry Coke. And for me, I always had money in my pocket because I was always working. So I didn't take that for granted. I'm like, let's put a little bit back in. I always saw my dad, my grandparents, like Tom said, a lot of neighborhood charity comes out of a bar.
Yeah.
Okay, a lot of neighborhood charity comes out of a bar. I've had as an adult, a woman come up to me in a wheelchair in church who had a MS, and she said, when your dad had, this is as a grown man, like 5-6 years ago, she came over to me at Mass Corpus Christi. She said, your dad used to let me do beef and beers at the bar, and whatever it was, $20, and he was going to keep $10, and I was going to keep $10 for when she first started getting sick. And she's like, at the end of the night, your dad would just let me keep all the money. He let me just keep everything, whatever they took in. And I was like,
what a good fucking dude. Yeah.
He never mentioned that. He never will boast about that. I did not know who this woman was. We did 1 million beef and beers in there. We did 1 million hustles and shit for sure. But, I was like, damn, man.
And he wasn't your old man wasn't doing it to get recognition. He was doing it because it was the right thing to do. That's a fucking, that's a true, like, neighborhood, like, good fucking dude, man. That's all. And he knew he didn't have everything, but he was happy with what he had. And like, he looked out for other people that were less fortunate. That's a real fucking dude. That's
awesome. A legend move right there.
Yeah. Big time. I would say so. Dude,
that's got to make you feel good, Chip.
Yeah.
Man. And this lady come up. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Dude, that's the shit that you got to do if you want to be if you want everybody in your hood to be like, yo, this fucking guy over here has got a big fucking heart.
I love that bar. I was in that bar all the time as a kid. My dad was on the men's softball team, and I loved it in there. The characters.
What team was he on?
It was to be the early 90s. They won like 5 or 6 championships in a row. It would have been like 90 to like 94, I guess.
Do you remember anybody else's name on that team?
There was Moon, Cube. There was this dude, Matt.
Fuck! You guys played on that team.
My dad was Brad.
You guys played with Timmy Panico.
Yeah, he was the pitcher, right?
Yeah.
Was it a softball team? Or?
Yeah, it was a men's softball team. My dad took it dead serious. Yeah,
dude, softball's no joke, man. People fucking.
Yeah. We had 2 teams at that point, and your dad was on that team with Timmy Panico and Moon, and my dad had like
Moon in 19
jerseys for them.
Yeah, the maroon Malteers jerseys. Moon in 1992 had a 75-inch television, and they took me to his house to like see it. That was it. That's what we did that day. My dad, my parents were separated, and he's like, I'm taking you to go see Moon's TV. And I was like, all right. He's like, it's humongous. it was, to this day, the biggest thing I think I've ever seen in my whole life. we just walked in. Moon lived alone. Like he used to, God bless Moon, was a fucking good man. And his wife had passed away, and he just lived alone at the point. And he had the biggest fucking TV, yo. It was like the size of the living room. The whole, like how the back would stick out.
Yeah.
Like the old, like it was one piece.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Bro. My guy is still playing softball in like 65 and up.
Still
Moon
to this
is?
day?
Yes.
Damn. Shout out.
God, I haven't seen him since I was like 12.
How many
Like a couple years ago, we were having the Thanksgiving Day flag football games with LC and North Penn.
Yeah.
And the last one, Moon came out freaking amazing. I'm like, what's up, Moon? Because he played in like 71.
he looked like I mean, in my memory, you know what I mean? Like he looks like an old man to me when I was like 10.
Probably was.
He was a good dude.
That was a fun team, man. That was a fun team. They would come in for crab leg dinners, and they would hang for the bands and shit. And those were like, the good times of the neighborhood. My dad would have like cookouts out on the front sidewalk for them. And
I would sit in there and play darts all day. I loved it.
this is before adults were pre-consumed with all their kids' bullshit travel teams and stuff like that. And men actually
I
did
traveled with
shit
him.
with other men.
Yeah. Yeah, men's leagues and all that. Yeah, that shit definitely took a dive for sure. But
now these guys are just sitting around on Zoom calls, recording themselves.
Yeah, now
I know.
Talk about how their dads used to do cool shit.
So let's keep it going. So you would end up graduating high school and stuff and everything like that. But you would, you really kind of worked at the bar, which it was Molatiers then. Now it's called Panico's, and we'll have a link in the description for the bar. If you haven't been there, it's a great fucking spot. I think John Bell used to call it the Corral because that's where he would get his chick. Called it the Corral.
Wow.
Love it.
Yeah.
The ceiling to that place, the gold ceiling,
Son,
just
we
a
all shine under the gold ceiling.
a
Damn
beautiful
right.
thing that I've never seen it anywhere else. Every time I like forget it exists and I walk in there every 5 years or something, I'm like, oh, it's a beautiful sight.
And
I'll
the
tell you
barrels of peanut.
Can I
If,
give
there,
it a?
if,
Go ahead, Chip. Go ahead.
if there's an episode name, it should be "We All Shine Under the Gold Ceiling."
Love it.
Beautiful thing.
All right.
There is now.
Yep.
There is
Damn
now.
right. Tom, what were you gonna say?
I just want to give them a shout out because when all the shit was going down a couple years ago and we were all shut down and stuff, they were one of the ones fighting to stay open. And so as a bar that was doing that, I appreciated that effort going forward because we just wanted to work, and it was nice to see other places that were saying, "Hey, we're gonna do what we're gonna."
Yeah.
Tom, that was an amazing night. That was the night for Thanksgiving.
Yes,
Thanksgiving
yes,
Eve.
it was.
When the
That's
governor
right.
shut us all down on Thanksgiving Eve. And my
remember.
brother said, "No, I'm not shutting down for a second time. I'm not breaking any laws, but I'm not going to follow your mandate."
Yeah.
And Action News came out, and Action News was parked there from 4 o'clock until midnight. We were the lead story at 4:30, 5:30, 6:30, and 11 o'clock news. The lead story was
Must have been
Panico's
great
Tavern
business for the
and
bar.
Robert Panico.
Shout out Jim
Dude,
Gardner.
He crushed. He
Shout out Jim
crushed after
Gardner.
that.
Oh, dude. I mean, it's already
Well, you
the
know what?
busiest night of the year, and you got like publicity you can't pay for coming there. Come on. What were you
They're
gonna say?
the only
Tom?
show in town. The cops are outside, so it has a dangerous feel to it.
Oh,
I'm
and
not
the
I mean, what more could you
cameras.
ask for?
Well, you know what? It's a shame because it was it took guts, and I appreciated that, and so it took a lot of guts to do that because you're going to be putting yourself out there for ridicule. But, at the end of the day, what we've always said is we're not forcing anyone to be, you know what I mean? These people are doing what they want to do.
Yeah.
And you got to see actually a lot of the support that you had.
Yeah.
And it was a tough time, and I'm just glad that I was I was following along because we were like, dude, they're doing it there, they're doing it. You're like, what are we gonna do? And it's funny, you see certain places that weren't doing it now. Unfortunately, some of them are out of business, and the guys that actually said, you know what, we're gonna do it. You know what I mean? Because we don't have another choice. We have to do it.
Yeah.
And
If
It was said best.
Yeah.
If when dancing is outlawed, only outlaws will dance.
Damn right. Shout out
You
Pete
son of
McCormick,
a-
fan of the
you
show. Listen
son
to
of
the
a
show.
God, I love
Dude,
I
if
just want to
you-
say I respect it. I liked it.
Nice.
Thank you, man. Thank you. You could put a link to that interview from ABC News in the description. That was amazing, man. And I was friggin'
You know-
I admire my brother and always have. We are different. We have a totally different management style. We both completely bust our ass. We built successful businesses in our own industries, and I really admire a lot about him. And
He was always a good dude.
I really admired him. I really admired him for doing that. Hell yeah. My brother is low key biggest heart you've ever met as well. He does so much shit for people that he doesn't say shit about shit, man. He just wants to work, take care of his family, and that's it.
Yeah. Go ahead, Bern.
I think you hit on something there too, of just like when you pour your heart and soul into something, right? You care about it, but it also means like you've surrounded yourself with good people. You have a staff you've put together that you like. You have people who've been working for you forever. You have people who depend on you.
Right.
And so the whole pandemic thing happened. I remember bartending the Saturday before St. Patrick's Day with we had no masks, we had rubber gloves on, because everyone was like, we don't know. And then 2 days later, Pennsylvania shut the whole thing down. And so that happened, and everybody was like, well, better be safe than sorry. And then you go to a year or 2 years later, and you're like, listen, I can't, this is not a for the most part, a business where people are stashing their 401k or, have stock in the company they work for. These are people who are working for cash, for their checks, to pay their bills.
Yeah.
They don't get a severance. They don't get
PTO.
PTO. They don't get
people working for the people.
Right. So as a business owner, how long can you watch these people that you've built your whole business around suffer and just go like, people gotta get paid, man. I gotta pay these people.
And now
these people need to get paid.
They agreed.
And now it's easier to say. 2 years ago, the night before Thanksgiving, that was a very difficult decision because, like we were saying, there was a lot of scrutiny coming your way. There's going to be a lot of people talking a lot of shit, saying this or that. And so to have the guts to do it, and I know a lot of local bars that were like, hell yeah, and it gave other bars some strength to say, this is what we're gonna, we're not gonna take this, what you tell us we can do. We know what we can do.
You can't save the industry if only one place is doing it.
Right.
And so it's important to see you can do this, and you may take some heat, but guess what? I bet Panico's is still open right now. I bet they're killing it.
And they're thriving.
The poker machines are blinking. The poker machines are blinking.
Man, that's another thing when you're able to get the machines at the fucking place. Oh my God. In the bar.
First time I saw someone gambling at a Sunoco, I was just like, what are you doing? What are you doing gambling?
Can't buy beer here, but you can gamble away your whole fucking paycheck.
There's a gas station at the end of my street outside of York, PA, that you can play slots and buy bait. All right. They sell beer. They have
nobody likes you and everybody hates you.
But I'm like, so you're telling me I can go to the exact same gas station that is like, some of you are playing slots. Some of you are on your way to fish in the scenic Susquehanna River. We have whatever you need, and it's not a high-end place. I'm just like, what a world we live in. I can go get myself a White Claw and a pepperoni twirl and some grubs, and then go see if I can get those cherries to line up.
Chip, I have a few important questions I have to ask you.
All right, it's time.
Yeah.
Here we go. We're gonna make a bunch of questions.
This is the jdub question segment. Let's go, Jalen Dub. It's a new part of the show we're introducing where it's a random question from Jalen Dub, Justin Richardson. Jalen Dub, ask away, sir.
Can I ask one question before you ask your question?
No questions are asked before Justin's question. Go.
I want to know your question.
How many questions do you have?
I have 3.
Okay. That's all.
Crazy. I'm not getting weird.
No, I like
a few baselines.
Yeah,
I didn't know. Is
what's
it
your
always
X-Men
going to be
power?
3?
I don't know.
Chip, this is the first ever time we're doing this. Let's try not to interrupt this segment 100 times. So, Justin, you got 3 questions. Chip, we need 3 answers from you. Let's go, Justin.
Chip, what's your X-Men power?
Jean Grey.
Oh, that's a bold choice.
Jean Grey. She has both telekinetics. She has both telekinetics and telekinesis. Woo!
Yeah, dude, that was
move shit.
right away. You
can do everything with that.
Before.
And also incredible hair. So
shout
let's not overlook that.
I mean, the Phoenix Saga was my least favorite part of the animated series, but it's still a dominating power. Yeah. It's a good answer. I like it.
Agreed.
My ringtone to my 4 best friends is my brother and my Benziel is the X-Men ringtone.
Is there a better song then Bob Seger's still the same.
Yes, Jerry Rafferty right down the line.
That actually comes like
Wow.
third after on the YouTube list.
Wow.
All right, I'll take it all out. If you're
Link in the podcast notes. Link in the podcast notes. Jerry Rafferty right down the line.
you're
Done.
traveling, you come across a troll under a bridge, and the only way he will allow you to cross was if you sing a song in completion with the correct lyrics. What song would you sing?
Happy birthday.
Whoa.
It's a cheap,
Oh.
it's a cheap out, but I'll allow it on the
But
first
it's
answer.
true.
Well,
I
because
mean,
he's like, what am I gonna 100% get correct?
Yeah, you gotta know all the lyrics. Like if you
Yeah.
had to pick a real
I have a question.
song that you
Is
go
the
ahead.
troll wearing a name tag? Because if not, that's a really big guess on
you
that.
could,
first
I mean,
part
you
of
could
Happy
just say
Birthday.
troll.
Happy,
Happy birthday,
dear
troll.
I mean, do you ever
Oh,
hear
that's
Happy
true.
birthday, dear child? Like, it's not really how the song goes.
Ooh,
Well,
I guess
you
you're gonna have to
know,
ask the troll its name.
You gotta pay the troll toll to get
And what
into
if the
that
troll's
boy's
a
hole.
and many more
Yeah.
kind of guy?
Yeah.
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 You don't
Or
know.
if he was a cha-cha-cha kind of guy.
I thought of this question. I was like,
Is the
in
troll
my,
Caucasian?
I would get nervous. I'd be
Could you
like,
tell?
American Pie. Like, oh fuck, it sucks 9
I was-
minutes.
I was going to
thinking-
say Anagata Devita.
That's I was in the got Vita tequila is a good answer.
I was gonna say the
Right.
Star Spangled Banner.
Mine was Boys in the Hood by Dynamite Hack.
That's a lot of words.
I know.
Wow.
Yeah. Woke up quick at about noon. Thought that I had to be in Compton soon. Gonna get drunk before the day begins.
I'd go El Scorcho by El
Ooh,
Scorcho.
goddamn those half
top to
Japanese
finish.
girls.
Yeah, I mean,
Take it back to Asian porn. They do it to me every time.
every time. Every time. J-Dub.
Shout out, fans of the show, listeners of the show. Nice. Okay, so let's keep it moving.
Good
then.
segment. Good
Great,
segment. Also,
great first Justin
first
asked the
segment.
question
That's what it brings to the
segment
table.
by
Love
J-Dub
it. Me-
and the nimbleness you would expect from Chef Chipper on his
Great
feet.
answer.
Yeah,
Jean
Great
Grey right off the
questions.
head.
great
Yeah.
answers, Justin. First ever
Justin-
Justin asked a question segment. We thought of
I like
it this
that.
afternoon when I was at the park with my daughter.
I have
I like
I
it.
have one bonus. Do
And
you
it
know?
just came out of nowhere. Like it was like,
Yeah.
it's
That was the
question-
idea. It was a random.
it was good.
He would just do it like we'd stop everything. He asked the question. Boom. You know, that was the idea. And he fucking
like
I thought
nailed
you were
it.
being I thought you were being cagey about the embassy block before we started.
I was like,
this.
does
I
Justin
thought
have
you
to
were-
leave or something? I don't
Yeah, what's
know.
wrong?
Chip, do you know the band Manchester Orchestra?
No,
Okay, that's okay. You can look that up on your own time.
I will.
Why?
You should.
Well, that was the
Is-
first, that
is
was the
that the
bonus
fourth
Andy Hall?
question?
That's
it's
the
just
one
a-
J-Dub was
just a
probing
little-
us
just a
for
feeler.
earlier
Just wanna
on tonight.
Poke and
What's a,
see.
yeah, what's a cool
Andy,
question?
Andy Hall fucks, yo.
Yeah.
Band slap.
Definitely check
I
it
feel
out.
feel
If
so
you-
bad I left.
If you have
J-Dub down
depression,
in the
you'll
pre-show.
fucking love it.
If you have depression, you'll fucking love it.
Oh,
Yeah.
If you have depression,
Take-
it's one of the best bands you'll ever hear.
Take that, the circus.
Shift, you
You
chop.
have-
Yeah, go ahead, Justin.
Talking comic books, you ever read any Scott Snyder's Batman?
Yes, I have probably volumes like 1 through maybe 5 of that, and then some of the other. I have a good amount of New 52 trade paperbacks. I dig. Yes, the last couple years,
The Court of the Owls.
I haven't read anything in like the last 2 years, but I have a good amount of New 52 stuff.
Burns probably yelling.
Yeah,
at his
yeah,
kid
Court of
right
Owls, you
now.
said-
He's like, shut the
You
hell up.
said the
They're
Court of
talking about
Owls?
comic books. I
Yeah.
want to get here. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead, Chip. You have
Yes, the Court of Owls was a series, a Batman series. It was long too. It was a lot of them, and it was a pretty good Batman storyline that was all original. Probably came out maybe like 2015 or something. I'm not sure, but a lot of the storylines, they're always rehashed from like older stuff that you've already read. Maybe this was really fresh and brand new. Cool. I don't know. Over the last couple years in the books, Marvel has kind of fell off for me.
Oh, really?
DC is definitely, I don't know. And a lot of the stuff, the X-Men in Marvel hasn't been that great as of recent. The stuff that I've read,
Yeah.
with the DC,
the 92 X-Men?
that's where they re-released the X-Men 92, right?
Yeah, they made it look like it's basically looks like the animated series.
Looks like the animated series. Well, aren't
That's
they
not
going to
bad.
re-release? Are they going to make a new animated series that takes right off of where the animated series stopped? With the same
Chipper, I'm
art?
glad you asked. I'm glad you asked that question. Yes, they are coming out with a new X-Men 92 series. And dude, I've been chomping at the bit. And it's going to start with House of M. So they're going to do more modern stories in the old animation style, and they have pretty much every voice actor who's still alive back to do it. So it'll be that animation and those characters with the more like the X-Men stories that have happened since they stopped doing the show.
The animated
What
series,
is
if you don't
House
remember,
of
they
M?
did Days Past. They
Yep.
did the
Yep.
Dark Side.
Yeah.
It's never been done
They
well
did it-
other than the comic.
Tell me about House of M. Fire.
What is House of M?
House of M is essentially it's going to have a big part in probably bringing mutants into the Marvel cinematic because it's a very Wanda Maximoff centered story of
Ooh.
her just being fed up with not being able to find her children and knowing what's real and just saying no more mutants.
Is that
and there's no more mutants.
Is that kind of,
And-
do you think they're gonna do something? Because like the Doctor Strange is a multiverse, like the new one.
I'm pretty sure we hear Patrick Stewart's voice in the trailer for
it's
the new
amazing.
Doctor Strange. So
That was amazing.
yeah, and I mean just knocked my dick right in the
Dude, I love
so
Days
pleased.
of Future Past. I thought Days of Past.
X-Men 2 and Days of Future Past are their two best movies by far.
First
And I think
Class
there's-
was good. First Class.
and first
was
class,
good.
and maybe First Class, and then there's a gap between not counting like Logan.
Logan,
I feel like
yeah,
it's kind of a
Logan's the
different-
best there ever was.
It's
But
a
yeah.
different kind of vibe
Yeah.
though.
Logan's absolutely incredible, flawless film.
But yeah, Disney on the
Flawless?
Disney.
Yeah, it's pretty
Almost
fucking
flawless.
good. Justin,
they
you
just
want it to
switch
be?
out-
Do you want it to be a different villain? We get it. We get
so
it.
Omega Red.
The paradox
So
of fighting
So
self.
easy,
Hell.
right there.
Fuck off.
They were so
All right.
close.
Yeah, so close, but yet so far. Omega
Brian
Red.
Singer.
Godfather
Chip.
Part 2 is so much better than Part 1.
No, it's
But
Chip,
either
I will
way-
agree with you though. I will agree with you, Chip. The Marvel books have fallen at this point. Like I'm reading a couple DC titles and mostly Image stuff.
Yeah.
But there is a book that just came out last week, The Punisher #1. Jason Aaron. I don't know if you ever read any of his Thor stuff, but pretty much everything that's going to be in the new Thor: Love and Thunder movie is all Jason Aaron stuff. Gore the God Butcher, the female Thor. Like he wrote that whole
Gotcha.
run. They're going to make played by Christian Bale. It's going to be creepy.
Woo!
And he's now writing a new Punisher book that I got the first issue of, and I was just like, he's one of those dudes. You know, when you collect comics, there's certain writers or artists who are just like, okay, whatever that guy's doing, even if I don't give a shit, I'll pick up a couple issues, just to see what
I
it looks
really
like.
feel like a cabbage conversation.
Yeah,
right
and he's
now.
one of those. He's one of those guys. Well, Matty, the same way you go to a bookstore, right? You have an author you like who puts out a new book. You're like, all
I'm
right,
with
shit, I
you.
gotta check
I'm
out that
with
new
you.
book.
Yeah.
So
No,
I picked
I'm
up his
with you.
Punisher #1, and it
It
fucking
slaps.
rules.
Slaps,
it's real
as the
good.
kids would say.
It's real good.
So okay, so let's get back into some of this work talk. All right, so yeah, so I'm just what I was just thinking, should the title of the episode be "We All Shine Under the Golden Ceiling" or should it be "Apollonia's Gravy Tits"? Right, like it's a lot to choose from.
Really is
A lot
photo
to
finish
choose
there.
from. Okay.
Has a certain, how you say, class to it. And the other one is, so we all shine under the golden ceiling.
You motherfucker, you! And slammed it. Nice. Okay.
Assassin.
Oh, dude, he's just the fucking best murderer. I wanted to do like a clip from every show as like this was the line of the show, and it was always like Justin was just hitting like the one
All
time.
J-Dub.
I don't like
The
this.
one
I
time-
don't need this.
The one time we were talking about Disney, and I said, "What was Sleeping Beauty's deal?" And Justin just went, "Yeah, she was just tired." And I fucking lost it.
Do you remember the VHS copy of Little Mermaid had a penis on it?
Yes.
Yeah, the cover. Yeah.
Like a dildo.
And the priest had a boner.
It was like that too came up and like all that stuff, but
There was
Right,
the
so-
Dustin
have it.
Lion King
That's
that
all,
said
sorry.
sex.
yeah.
Yeah. Enough Disney talk. Okay, so let's keep moving. So Chip,
Wait,
like we
but
said,
how about just a little bit of J-Dub of being like, I don't know how to take compliments because I
Oh
wasn't
my
raised
God.
that way. So please stop saying nice things to me.
yeah.
J-Dub,
I'm not
we
funny,
love
I just show
you.
up here.
We're here for you, and you're a fucking sniper.
Yeah, and
Thank
you
you.
killed your first J-Dub question segment. Loved it.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved it. First ever Chip, you're honored. It's a historical moment in the show, and you were the first ever guest on the J-Dub question segment. So you should be honored.
It's just my narcissism. I liked your answers and I like you now.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Just know in the future when I don't like your answers, I probably don't like you. I won't make that so obvious going forward.
Yeah. Well, it'd be kind of funny if you did.
Never mention it again. Just like if you don't know the secret, if you didn't see this episode, you don't know the secret, then that's on you.
There's
I think
a few
you mention
people
it
that
every
are
time.
never- yeah.
After every time they answer their questions, however many, you just say, "I don't like you,"
And we
or
should
something
then
like
start-
that.
We
or,
should
"I
start
like you."
Yeah, we should start a list too and be like, well, you're not allowed back on the show. So,
I definitely
there you
can't ask it early in the show then. Like we're 18 minutes in. I'm like, hey, I hate you, just so you know.
And
I don't like Nightcrawler's power that much, and I don't like you that much.
Yeah. All right. So let's keep it moving. So Chip, you worked at the bar really in the boys club, but like really the bar from like the age of 10 to like 28. Then you leave the bar, right? You have like a young family and you're trying to make some money. You started to work at a catering company. And this is kind of where you got like really kind of like dug your fingertips into like the food distribution game, right? Fuck.
The what?
The food distribution.
Was it the food distribution?
It was the food distribution game. All right.
You really
fucking
distribute the shit
cocksucker.
out of it.
My
Layers and layers of
my name is Matt.
Not wait.
Chip's
That
still
was
here.
ugly and not
Can we
gonna
check
read
and see
good.
if Chip's still
Fucking
here?
work. Yeah.
Chip might have bailed on this. He might have been like, all right,
Yeah.
this is clown shoes now.
I'm
So
loving all the fucking chop busting going on here because man can't
yeah,
speak.
yeah.
Yeah, I started working for a food service management and off-premise catering company down in Fraser.
Okay.
And what they did was food service management contracts in corporate cafeteria, most places in Plymouth Meeting, King of Prussia, and down the main line towards that way. And they would go into pharmaceutical companies, insurance companies, anywhere there would be like 300 to 1,400 people working in a facility, and they would run their cafeteria.
Nice.
They would have management contracts. They had a corporate structure, a hierarchy. They had a couple owners. They had a couple of district managers that would drive around and check on these different cafes and cafeterias.
Yeah.
And then each cafe had a chef manager and a team that they managed that ordered and produced all the food every day.
Yeah.
So I went for an interview with this company
For
to be
where?
a food service manager.
It would be in like an office building, Justin.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
there
so
was.
like
Yeah. Go ahead, Justin.
No, like if your company had like a cafeteria, like would it be like public schools or like just workplaces or?
Well, for this
These
one,
would
it
be
was
like-
just work. It was just like offices.
Hospitals,
right?
maybe.
They specialized in pharmaceutical companies,
Okay.
insurance companies, call center,
Yeah. Places with
pubs.
just-
mostly white collar
Yeah.
people working in there.
Yeah.
They really targeted health insurance and medical industry, pharmaceutical industry because they had big wallets.
And you
these
guys saved
cafes were-
you guys saved a shitload on seasoning.
they,
Because it was white people and white collars. You motherfucker. Well, we just
Fucking
got
guy.
the I thought it
Fucking
was gravy
jdub.
tits.
God.
I thought it
damn
was gravy tits, and now you just fucking took it. The line of the fucking show. They
God
saved a
damn
ton
it.
of money on food seasoning, you son of a bitch.
I'm
Not
still
kidding.
going with gravy tits.
I don't know. What a line. What a fucking line. Okay.
Win, play, show. We'll make our bets.
Yeah, yeah. you
Web play
fucking-
show.
Yeah.
We should have.
Okay.
Dude, actually, the call centers were a mix of different people. They all were, but the call centers
Yeah.
were a little bit more ghetto than like the pharmaceutical industries. They
Yeah.
each had their own different. Each account had its own different accent, so to speak. So, and these places were subsidized. These guys had contracts with them to run them for anywhere between 2 and 5 years. The contracts were subsidized, so part of the labor and the cost of the product was picked up by these companies, and then they would run the cafeteria. Then the company I worked for, they did all the catering within that building. So these companies would have meetings. Anything that went up to the office, we did the catering. The
Yeah.
staff was already paid for. They had no labor costs for the catering.
Yeah.
Staff was already there every day, and the catering was big number. Where like a sandwich in their deli might cost you $6. A sandwich package for catering with like a little salad and a little pasta salad and a little this and that. Next thing you know, it's like $14-15 for a sandwich buffet in an office upstairs that you're charging them $6 for downstairs. You just have to wheel it up there and put it in fancy plates.
Yeah.
So I saw them really making bang. And then these guys had side hustles. The Mac machines in these buildings, they had the contract for that. The soda machines, the Coke machines, the everything. Yeah. And then they had like, depending on the size of the account, a management fee. So on top of everything else they're making, they're paying $500 a week management fee to this company just to have a guy in a sport coat stop by there once a week and say hello to the admins and stuff like that. Then on the weekends, they had a big commissary and they did all kinds of weddings and stuff down Delaware County, Chester County, and towards the main line, Brewall and stuff like that.
Oh man.
And I had 4 little kids. So aside from my job working in the cafeterias, I was trying to get on every wedding and every side job I could get on. You got paid different rate for that. And wanted to outwork anyone I could to get on those jobs. They had 150 or 160 employees in the cafeteria.
Oh.
So maybe 8 guys would get on a wedding on a Saturday.
Yeah.
So some people don't give a shit, but a lot of people are fighting for those hours.
Yeah.
And the head chef of the company, he's going to, someone he can trust to do stuff, he's going to put on jobs, and someone that's a pain in the ass, he's not going to.
Yeah.
So I worked my way into there, and I worked my way to the point where they were letting me do a lot of those gigs on my own, captain those gigs.
Nice.
And I was learning a lot. The owners there really took me under their wing and taught me a lot. They brought me in at ground level. I remember going there, my interview in my suit, bringing in my portfolio, everything I've been doing for the bar over the last couple of years. And I was doing a lot of promotions with steak nights and off-premise catering and a lot of promotions with sports. I did big Super Bowl parties. I did a lot of cross promotions with other businesses. I did a big Madden league with GameStop, and that was pretty successful for a couple of years. So
Nice.
it's not like I wasn't getting around. These guys brought me in at like entry level and made me a utility guy in one of their call center cafeterias, and it was like, damn, man, this is humbling as shit. I'm going from running my own joint to basically being a cook's helper and doing the salad bar in a fucking cafeteria. And I just try to keep it positive and work my ass off and just work from there. Within like 6 weeks of being entry level, they made me a manager, brand new cafeteria that we opened up in XL Insurance in Downingtown. And that was a great opportunity because I could basically do what I want. They said, look, run this like you owned it. There's going to be you and 2 people here. You're going to feed 500 people here a day. You're maybe going to feed like 200 people a day.
Yeah.
Just run it however you would run it. They had a corporate menu, all this stuff, but like not everything would work where we were at based on limited equipment and limited budget. So what I did was I mastered that. And I mastered that job. I saved them costs. I cut it down from a 3.5 person staff to a 2.5 person staff. And then I wrote a SOP. I wrote a standard operating procedure brochure that another manager could come in and they could run this based on the standard operating procedure. This is how you count out in the morning. This is how you set up. These are pictures of what the line's supposed to look like. This is what you do for breakfast.
Bro,
this is what you do for lunch. This is what you do.
That's
so then
what you're waiting
that
gold.
with the owner. Yeah, I presented that to the owner and I said, look, this job's too small for me. This is what I did over here. You need to bring someone else up and they can run this. You need to move me to another job, or I need to
grow.
Maybe look elsewhere because this is not going to be me forever. It's not even about the money for me. I need to make more money because I have a growing family. But right now, it's like I need to go to the next thing.
Yeah.
So they took me from there to being the chef manager of the flagship account at a large pharmaceutical company. And they did a couple million a year in sales in there. And that was a great opportunity. It was very upscale. I had an amazing team. I had like first class chefs there that just didn't want to work in restaurants and shit anymore.
Yeah.
You know? And they wanted to work.
And it's 9 to 5, right? Like it's you're just working 6 to 2. 6 to 2.
6 to 2.
6 to 2. So you're working during the day. You're dealing with like it's like they'll do like, because I know the one that I have at my place, it's like they'll do like something for breakfast and they'll do a lunch and then they'll see you and then they'll cater the office gigs and all that shit. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. So okay, 6 to 2, doing some prep, right? Like, but like I don't even think it opens till like 8 or 9, right? Or does it open at 7 for the coffee?
We would open ours for breakfast, and I had a chef there doing a grill. He would make the fresh eggs, omelets, all this shit. So we had a full breakfast at 7:30 a.m.
Oh god, that's the best.
Yeah, we had anything you wanted: sausage, bacon, ham. It was literally you just go up, order whatever. It was like going to a diner.
Yeah.
And the cook that worked that grill, I'm telling you, you could take him into any restaurant. He could knock shit out.
Yeah.
You know, but he was just like, no, I'm too old for that. He didn't even get on the side gigs and shit anymore because he could be a beast, but he's just like, no.
Yeah.
I work, I go home.
No.
I'm gonna go make breakfast. I'm great at it. I can work a couple hours, do something that I love doing, and not have to be stressed about it.
Dude,
well, we loved it. The people were nice. It's an air conditioned controlled kitchen.
Yes.
At lunch, that breakfast grill turned over to a lunch grill. He's doing burgers and dog and cheesesteaks and shit. The customers there, the clientele, they're a lot different than restaurant, corner bar, or neighborhood bar for sure.
Yeah, they're at work.
Yeah, they're at work. It's different. It's a different feel. So I really started to like that business, enjoy that, and I started to learn about food service contracts, and that's what I wanted to bring the things that I learned there back and fold it into my family's business. And then what I did was kind of do that and then spun off on my own.
Yeah. Okay. So then let's talk about that. So you were like, you would do like you said, you went to like the pharma place, but then something would happen, right? Where like you found out like this, like your dad would do like the side hustle, right? You were working, you're doing all these things, but then you saw a need for something in like the daycare market and things like that, right? And like you had the idea of like branching out, and like you would set up like while you're at the one place, you're setting up like, well, we can do catering for here every day and here for every day, right? And like you would pick up different grades, right? Or different daycares and things like that, right?
I had left working for that first food service management company over an argument I had with one of the owners there.
Yeah.
Right. Like I said, they put me in like the flagship fucking joint.
Yeah.
And I ran that thing like it was the chip shit.
Yeah.
We killed it there. It was clean as hell. The numbers were fantastic. We were blowing away any other account that they had. They built like a competitive nature between the different accounts that they had, like whose kitchen's better, blah, blah, blah. So you throw like that onto me, and then you put me on a team with a couple competitive chefs. It was like, dude, we're out to kill every other account that this place has. Even though we're all working for the same company, it's just like, we're gonna be the best thing. We're gonna have the best menu. We're gonna have the best presentations. Anything they do, when they develop something, when they try something new, everything's coming through here. When they have like big, like when the other accounts had like Christmas parties where they had 600 people there, they would bring me and my crew in to knock that shit out in other people's kitchens. So I really loved it, really enjoyed it. I made sure my thing was great. When they started us out, the deal was if you made your food budget for the quarter, everybody on your staff got an entire paycheck bonus.
Oh, wow.
That was a selling point, right? They rolled in that my first year and a half there. That was the standard. I made it every single quarter, every quarter. So me and my entire team got a week's paycheck bonus. Obviously taxed and all that bullshit.
4 times a year, right?
Yes.
Damn.
Nice.
Yes.
Fuck yeah, you want to work in that kitchen.
That's a whole that's a month. You're working
3 months.
You're working a 13
It's 2 months
year.
it's 2 weeks, right?
Lousy smarch.
Oh my
Right.
god.
So
God damn.
So
Son of a
this company, there's 3 owners of this company. They all treated me fair. One of them treated me really great, took me under his wing, right? He was a third owner. He was an investor in the original company. He had owned another company like this previous to coming on with these 2 gentlemen. And he built up to 71 cafeteria, and he ended up selling it to a national, in fact, international. He sold his entire contracting company to an international food service management company, one of the real big, and cashed out big time. Wow. And while he sold, he had a 5-year no compete, couldn't get back into the business. Yeah. While he had the no compete, he was consulting for these other 2 guys, and he was setting them up with these accounts. As the national food service companies contracts were coming up, he was pushing those accounts to this new company that I was at.
Oh, okay.
So they had been experiencing some rapid growth. When I first got on there, like they were experiencing rapid growth. That's why I flew up in the company so quick.
Yeah.
Well, they were building up to do the same thing, build up as quick as they could and sell. And they ended up doing that. They built up to, I think, 57 at the end, and they sold it to a large company out of Baltimore, right? I think for like 17 million or something like that.
Yeah.
That was their cash out number. And they were changing their policies to go like way more corporate. So they got rid of that food budget quarterly bonus. And they went to a report card bonus, right? Where they're going to give you a report card.
It's all
if you
subjective.
grade out at
Yeah, because they can screw you on the report card. They can't screw you on the dollars and cents.
Yeah.
Right there,
Right.
black and white. But the report card, they can be like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I get
They're-
your
You know,
attitude was only a 3.7.
Wow. Yeah. They went to a figure skating judgment kind of thing.
Yeah.
dog.
This damn Russian
Total
judges.
bullshit.
Wow.
Total bullshit. So I
So you're still
20
putting out the
20
same like
same
the
effort,
monetary
same
value.
everything.
Yeah, same big numbers, same everything. but now
probably
they're
better because with every year you're into it, you're getting a little bit better. You know what I mean? So probably better than it was the first 4 quarters because now you're like, no, now I really like.
So I 20% was like food budget. 20% was, like you said, attitude. 20% was development. 20% was
hairstyle,
right?
Yeah.
So name tag, shit like this little shit, hairstyle, exactly, Kempness of employees.
20% Cheeto preference, you know,
Speaking
like
of,
just from everywhere.
Hairstyle. This whole time while you're working at this company and stuff, you're still hunting a 6-figured man and still trying to track him down, or
Indigo Montoya. You killed
at this point, and the boys will tell you, I had a strict high and tight from like 8 years old through like 34 years old. I had a really
and then
high
you just
tight.
let it go.
Yeah,
I love it.
Absolutely.
For those
6 years since then.
For those listening, Justin's joke
J-Dub,
is
it's not
referring
too
to
late.
Chip's haircut.
As a man,
beautiful.
As a man who's hit chin length a few times in my life, I honor your commitments, like your dedication to commitment.
Yeah.
Because I've gotten low, but I've let it go. I've never gotten past my
your
shoulders.
shit's down to your freaking center of your back, aren't you? Your hair.
Yeah, I'm like, remember the Merovingian kings? They were known for their long hair.
Yeah,
Sure
we
was.
all know that. I mean,
And
you don't have to tell us
and-
that.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna, and they're not getting kicked out of bed for that mustache either. As far as those Merovingian kings go, I see what you're doing here, Chip.
I was
like
gonna
it.
ask, when are we going to get to Chip modeling for romance novels? I didn't know when we were getting to that.
I mean,
but-
that mustache itself.
It's
could
the
be
next side
for-
hustle.
You can just
right?
do that on your own at night.
Yeah. How about it? OnlyFans. There we go. So okay.
Picture Chip over a bunch of
This-
pre-made
this-
lunches.
This guy gives me this report card, and he ends up grading my team out at a 60.
He's out of his fucking mind.
So we all missed
out
his
of
bonus.
100? Out of
Right.
100?
Out of 100.
So you
Whoa.
like you
Dog.
still had the best
That
numbers.
fucking killed
You
me.
still killed at like you were still the number one restaurant as far as like all those requirements previously, right? And you're still the number one for everything you've been doing for years that is monetary value based, which is the most important thing. You're still
It's called
way ahead.
capitalism.
Yeah,
So, that's
so
spelled
way
it
ahead of that.
better.
But because Johnny forgot his fucking name tag one Tuesday 3 months ago, he gets a 60. It's, he gets 10 deduction points right there. No fucking name tag for Johnny.
Merits.
What am I supposed to call him? Steve? Come on. Like some
Dude.
fucking that would drive me up the wall.
I brought in the owner that I was close with, and I questioned him. And when I did that, one of the different owners came in, and because I went over his head and went to the owner that was mentoring me, because I was this guy, like, I was his boy or whatever.
Yeah.
The owner that graded me out at a 60 came in, and he just ripped me a new asshole in the cafeteria after work one day. And I mean, like,
Now
short guy
he's
complex.
got to show his ass off. Now he's
fucking-
got to show his ass because you were like, hey,
Right.
your estimation is bullshit. I'm going to go talk to somebody about it.
Yeah.
Which
He's
is
taking
like what
money
you
out
have
of
to
my
do. But also the kind of dude who's going to do that to jam you out of money is also going to be like, oh no, I will go down fighting as the guy who's right here, no matter how many people think I'm not.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
That's your boss. So
he called me
kind
out.
of fucked at that
He
point.
called me out on total. He called me out on developing my staff. What was I doing to develop my staff? I had a guy named Steve. Mr. Steve drove up. He took 2 buses to get to work from North Philly every day. Couldn't read anything. I had to help him with all his paperwork, all this kind of stuff. Great guy, barely any teeth. I remember he finally got his dental insurance from the company, got his teeth pulled, his gums fixed and shit.
Nice.
Fucking great guy. Dude, I got this guy, he's a dishwasher, right? When he started for me. Well, when he ended for me, he was dishwasher and salad bar. He did all the dishes and shit, and he did all the salad bar, and he fucking knew what the salad dressings were. I had a fucking salad
How
bar
outlandish that is.
cookbook there. I had
Yeah.
a salad bar cookbook there for him with pictures, and he could make like, composed salads with tomatoes and mozzarella and basil and all this shit, and like showed him basically by picture what the fuck to do. I'm like, look at Mr. Steve, dude. You're talking about development. The guy fucking came in here like
I
playing
told a
the
man how
light.
to read.
Yeah, you
I
gave
taught
him
him how to
a
read.
fucking
What do you want team development wise? Like, other than teaching him how to drive here, I taught the man how to read.
It's incredible.
So this guy ripped me a new asshole, and like after that conversation, I'm like,
I'm
it's
not
a wrap.
teaching anyone else how to read.
Yeah.
You're on your own.
nah, man, like that's for my dad and like Coach Algio. If you're not my dad or Coach Algio, you don't fucking rip me a new asshole like that. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Like I'm not
Yeah.
a fucking
Fuck
grown man with
you.
4 kids. Like I'm not
Yeah.
taking that shit. So I called my district manager, who I was his guy. Like I was his fucking guy. I was like I helped the district manager get bigger. The district manager and one of the owners loved me. I called the district manager. I'm like, dude, I'm giving you my 2-hour notice. I'm fucking done here, man. My family owns a bar back in Lansdale. I can fucking go back there and make cheesesteaks and serve fucking shots of fucking Jameson. I don't need this shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'll figure out how to fucking be at my kids' little league games from there, but I ain't gonna let this guy fucking fish me out.
Yeah.
I counted out the drawer and I just fucking walked out. I told him, and I'm like, I'm not coming back to work tomorrow, man. Fuck that. You don't talk to somebody like that. After I've been like literally breaking my fucking balls. I remember I literally scrubbed some of the grout in the kitchen with a fucking scrub brush in Ajax to make sure that shit was clean as fuck for that report card.
Yeah.
And a 60 for me was like total failure. A 60 at LC means you fail.
60,
A 69 is a failing grade at LC. You give me a fucking 60, you're telling me I'm a fucking failure?
Yeah.
Public school.
I couldn't do it for how hard I was working.
Yeah.
So I left there, came to work. My brother gave me a job for a couple months. Then I started working at another caterer. It was at that caterer that I started implementing some of the food service contract practices. And I sold 2 contracts to daycares down at the main line to provide them with food service every day.
Yeah.
It was about $110,000 in sales a year for a company that I just started working for. So they loved that. I also got a piece. I got a couple points off of that contract for myself, which was nice.
Attaboy.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
The gentleman that I was working for then was a real sweet guy. He didn't know much about food. The people that were working for him before I got there were beating him up pretty good.
Oh, really?
So when I got there, I'm like, look, I can like cut a lot of these costs by like some basic fundamentals that these people either don't know or they don't give a shit about. He did not know a thing about food service. He did all off premise. He only did corporate, which was nice because it was early mornings and days. He did not do social parties. It was like off nights and weekends, which was nice.
Yeah.
And like I said, he got a call for these daycare contracts. He didn't know how to put them together. So he's like, why don't you give it a shot for him? Unbeknownst to me, while I was working for him for like 10 months, he's bleeding out all his cash. And he came up to me, and a guy that was working there for about 7 years, Bob, we'll just call him Bob. He came up to me and Bob, and he was like, look, we're going out of business. We got to be out of this building in 5 weeks. And me and good old Bob, you know, he had 3 kids underneath 14 years old, one of them being a special need kid. And Bob's a real salt to the earth, genuine, amazing guy. You could plop him down in Lansdale, North Wales, Wilkes-Barre, anywhere. He's like that salt of the earth guy that everyone will just love. You know, he wants to smoke his Marlboro Red and drink his beer and watch a dirt track race on the weekend.
Yeah.
So, you know, he's got a couple little kids too. So I'm like, well, what are we going to do? We're fucked. So what we did was I rolled those 2 daycare contracts into my own LLC. I presented the directors with a letter. I said, the old owner's retiring. I didn't say he lost his ass. I said, the old owner's retiring. We're going to roll these 2 daycare contracts in a new LLC, Chef Chipper LLC.
Yeah.
Food's going to be coming out of my family's restaurant in Lansdale until I find another commissary. And I took Bob with me.
Yeah.
And Bob had been working for this company for like 5 years, so he knew some of the corporate clients. I had made a good repertoire in my like year there with the corporate client.
Yeah.
What I did was I took those. I knew I could at least pay him from those 2 contracts.
Yeah.
With those 2 contracts, I could rent. I went into a social club that I rented here in Lansdale. I knew I could pay the rent, pay Bob, pay my car insurance, and buy.
Yeah.
That would use up that $110,000 for the year. And then from there, I got to hustle to make my own money.
Yeah.
But I at least have a facility and 2 vehicles.
Yeah.
And
so
someone
that
who
we
wants
just
to
went-
work. Like,
and someone
an
who wants to
employee
work.
that you trust.
And someone who wants to work. So we went from there, and I went out and I put my suit on and I went to all the big ticket corporate clients that I knew. Did a lunch once a month for 200 people or 3 times a year for 500 people. And I knew a couple of the secretaries, and I just went in there totally cold call and said, hey, is Stephanie here? And okay, they come down. I'm like, hey, yeah. You know, they barely recognize me. And, you know, hey, it's Chef Chipper from AAA Catering. Here's my new menu. Here's my card. Mike's retired. We're still around. You know, similar menu. I did some similar branding.
Yeah.
So there would be like a connection.
Brand recognition. Yeah.
You know what I mean? But not total. I had to do my own spin on it.
Yeah.
But, you know, we're still here. Bob's still here. Bob's been cooking for you for like 7 years anyway.
Yeah.
Me and Bob are still around. Look at my new Budget Buddy deals. Here's a $50 Visa gift card, honey. Give us a call.
Yeah.
So we started roping in some of those admins at the front desk, and I actually was able to hold on to a couple of clients since then. That was 2011, and I'm still booking some of these clients.
Nice.
You know,
That's
what I
awesome.
did was I really went in there and went above and beyond for some of these people as far as the service and the value that I
Yeah,
was bringing.
I was
to
gonna
them.
say that $50 gift card paid off
Big time.
You know,
over 10 years.
yo, you got to have a come on, dude. You got to give them something to give them a come on in.
Yeah.
You got to have a come on.
I
Johnny
get the,
Flowers.
Johnny Flowers.
Shout
I would
out.
bring the
Wow,
this-
that's a great deal on that Griffey card.
Oh my God! What an amazing deal in that tray of Caesar
Yeah.
salad.
So wait, yeah,
Like,
you were in
just
there.
have him
You're
walking
giving
around.
him. You're giving him the Visa card. Bob's behind you, like, wow, that's a great deal. He's giving you a Visa card.
What Justin, what were you gonna say?
I used to bring the sewing box, the cookies that come in a tin to
Yeah.
clients that I had, and they're $1.
Yes.
But they
Yep.
love them. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So like it just showing up, bringing stuff, puts you above and ahead of the competition. And when they think about who they need, then, you know, who's bringing them $50 gift cards or dollar tins of cookies, you know.
Not a bad shout. Good job, jdub. Love it. So okay. So you start AAA catering and you start like you went in, you grabbed your fucking balls, you grabbed Bob by his balls, you had your 2 fucking daycares, you got a couple big client, like, you know, bigger clients, and then you're just like, I got to start making this work. I got to keep going, got to keep grinding. $50 gift card here, $1 can of cookies here, you know, just doing your thing. And you eventually would then kind of build what is an empire. And I'll say it now. My daughter's daycare, which I love her daycare, right? And like I remember my wife showing me like, you know, the menus that they would get at like the food. Like she gets a menu every week of like, it's this day is this and this day is this and whatever, right? And I'm like, man, this is like, I remember telling her this, and this is like, you know, when she first started there like 2 years ago, right? And being like, this is like great. They get like a food and a fruit and like, you know, really clean eating, clean living kind of thing for younger kids, stuff we didn't have. And like really just kind of, you know, I was really impressed by it. And I actually said, I was like, I wonder how this works. Like, is it? And my wife told me it's funded through the state and all this stuff. But then it turns out our guy here, Chef Chipper, is the one slanging the food for my kids' daycare. And I'm fucking tickled pink about it. So that's kind of
it's
like
in good hands.
Oh, I know it's in him and Bob's hands. You kidding me? They took
Yeah,
their
it's good to
hands
know.
off their balls. They started fucking just getting daycares. So how did it work, Chip? Like eventually you kind of like would latch on to the daycare gimmick, right? And how did that go? How did you like pick that up and get that started?
Well, I had the two daycares. They're
Yeah.
both on the main line.
Yeah.
And then I got a call for a third one. The third one, I'm like, I gave the woman an amazing deal. She's an amazing person, but I was like, I just want the third one. I want to be an expert at this. The more of these I get,
Yeah.
when I present this when I'm trying to sell this,
Yeah.
I'm an expert at it. So I
Yeah.
got the third one. Then the third one, I got the fourth and fifth one. The fourth and fifth one were the first 2 that were run through state funding.
Nice.
Okay. So I had to do some
Got that guaranteed check.
I had to do some clearances. I had to do some like classes, and I had to
Yeah.
get different certifications and licenses.
Yeah.
But what that put me on was the state's approved vendors.
Yeah.
Once I go on the state's approved vendors list, the first one listed in alphabetical order is AAA Catering. So any contract over a certain dollar has to be put out for a request for bid, okay, or request for proposal, RFP or RFB. So they have to put them out by state law. They have to advertise in the newspaper for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And they have to email a certain amount. I think it's like a half dozen vendors on the state's approved vendors. So they're looking like the state's approved vendors list, and they see like, well, how many people in the state of PA like actually do this? Not that many. And then how many are near Philadelphia or the 5-county region? Again, not that many. You're not going to send it to a guy that's in like Erie.
Yeah. Yeah. Fuck.
So let me just pick like 6 of them that are around here. I'll pick the first guy, AAA Catering. So I started getting requests for bids in my email.
Nice.
And I started bidding on them, and I lost a couple bids. And then I started learning what the price points were. And then I started learning like, oh shit, you're allowed to like ask for the last contract and get like all the information. It's all public information. So it's like, oh, okay. I had to learn like the bidding process.
It's crazy how
bid
this
on-
is almost like you're hawking cards again, right? You're like, all right, it was this. Well, I'll give you this. What about, like it's kind of like that again, you know?
Frank
what I mean?
Thomas goes for $12. If you're asking for 27, it's never going to get sold. But you ask for
I
$11.50.
got contacted by a company that's based in Washington. And what they do is they manage this program for daycares that that doesn't have the administrative power to do it themselves. Okay. So they came into West Philly and they had like 5 or 6 early learning centers that had maybe like a total of 400, 500 kids in them. It was like a $750,000 contract. This is about 7 years ago. And I went in there. This was the first contract that I bid, and I worked all my math back. Anything about business, you start with the sale first. What's the sale? And then you work your way backwards. The labor, the product costs, like all the costs. And then say like, all right, well, does this warrant it? And what's the profit left over at the end? Does it even warrant all this work? So then I did all the work and I figured, okay, I'll need this, I'll need this, I'll need this, I'll need a new vehicle. I'll give myself like an $8,000 budget for like a used van, right? And that would have equaled like 10 cents per child per day over the course of the contract. So like I figured my numbers out for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then I figured, you know what? I don't want to shortchange myself. I'm going to put 10 cents more per kid. That'll give me $8,000 over the course of the year. That'll buy that van
out of it. Yeah.
Right. Well, I fucking went down there in my suit. It was like 9,000 degrees in the middle of the summer. You bid in July. Went down to this like shitty ass facility in West Philly. The people were really sweet. They were just getting set up. It's a closed envelope bid. So you go there, they open the envelope right in front of you. It's me versus the other guy. Another guy rolls in and like he looked like such a yokel. Like a cheesy golf shirt, khakis. He was in a convertible. He had like major tan. He was bald. The whole head was tan, so I could tell he like lived down the shore all summer and shit.
Yeah.
And this fucker rolled in there, and he didn't have his paperwork right away, right? So they let him change it like before he handed it in. Then after they opened it, they let him refill something out, and he handed it in. And then like, do you want to change it? And I was like, no, because it specifically says no changes after it's fucking open.
Yeah.
And he ended up being like a dime cheaper than me per kid over the 3 meals, a day. So he fucking beat me on that dime, $750,000 contract. And I'm like, you motherfucker, if I would have known that, I would have easily
cents. Yeah.
Fuck yeah, dude. So then I started learning like these other companies, because there's not that many companies that do this, their price point for this. And then once I made it a decision that I'm going to beat their price point, I'm going to find the product cheaper. I'm going to do more work personally myself to make my overhead less, because none of these people are fucking workers. Like when I saw this guy, he's like Mr. Magoo getting out of his car. I'm like, doggy, I'll fucking run circles around this guy's whole team. And I got a team of trained assassins in my kitchen, dude. We pump shit out.
Yeah.
So I started to learn how to bid these, and I started winning some of these bids. And now we have 43 schools. 42 of them are daycares. They're early learning centers, 3 months old to 6 years old till they go to kindergarten. Mm-hmm. And we have one K-8 elementary school. It's St. Aloysius in Pottstown.
Nice.
They're amazing. And we had sent a contract in to the principal administration at your alma mater, St. Stanislaus, and we're going to be doing St. Stanislaus's lunch starting with their summer camp in June. And we'll be doing their lunch next year.
Are you doing it at Corpus?
Tomorrow.
Are you doing it
night
at Corpus? Corpus
Tomorrow
Christi?
night's their home and school. Tomorrow night's their home and school board meeting, right? When I go into Corpus Christi's home and school board meeting tomorrow night, I'm going to present to them my things. I'm going to say, you guys might have heard of me. Most of the kids around this school know me as Coach Chip. I've coached all your kids. I've volunteered. I do the church picnic for free every year. I do blah, 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 blah. Maybe you guys can throw me a bone and give me the food service contract next year. I already do.
Maybe you'll let me cook all your food too.
So that's the next phase in the food service management contract.
That's awesome.
Is K-8 school.
Yeah.
The majority of the daycares that I deliver are in income eligible areas in the city.
Yeah.
Okay. There's like an income eligibility map that this program runs through.
Yeah.
The K-8 schools out here in Montgomery County, they're not eligible for this program.
No.
On their own accord. It's actually the last 2 years. I'm sorry, with COVID, actually every kid in the state's been eligible for this program, but that ends at the end of this year. So traditionally, these schools aren't eligible for this program. But what I want to do with my own network here in town with St. Al's and Pottstown, St. Stanislaus and Corpus Christi is become an expert at K through 8.
Yeah.
I'm already an expert at daycare.
Yeah.
I do 42 daycares every day. If you call, I'm starting another daycare with 75 kids on April 1st. If you call me tomorrow and say my daycare, my food service guy fell through, I can scale it up like that, and I can put you on a route and deliver you something on Thursday and start you up. The K through 8 school, their menu's slightly different. An 8th grader's not going to eat the same thing a 5-year-old's going to eat.
Yeah.
I want to become an expert on that, perfect my game with these local schools with that.
Way less grades.
And then
way less grades.
And then market to charter schools K through 8 in the city.
Yeah.
There's a lot of charter schools in
Get
the
your
city.
friends
K through 8.
select and yeah. Dude, that's that's a genius. Because are those private contracts then? Like you're funded
The charter
through
schools?
Yeah. Like and like the K through 8.
They'll be the K through 8s out here in the suburbs, St. Stan's, Corpus Christi. They're a private contract I have just with them. Charter schools, I can get set up with the state's program and get them set up with the state sponsor, so I can just get paid straight through state for those.
Oh my God.
Yeah, charter schools still do get state funding, not as much as public schools. They still do. Whereas like a Catholic school or a parochial school, that's all through the church.
Tuition based.
Yeah, charter schools still get a.
Hey man, whether you're funded by the state or funded by the church, you're getting fucking paid either way, brother. You know what I'm saying?
That's it, man.
You're getting a damn paycheck. So that kind of leaves you to where you're at now, right? Where you've got all these schools, and like, not to mention, you know, when we had you on the show the first time, we promoted the Mission Nutrition, Chef Chipper's Mission Nutrition, and all the great things you're doing for the community. And dude, like, I'm just so fucking happy for you, man. And like, just love to see like your commitment and your work ethic and like just everything you've done to like really you just bet on yourself. You put it out there and you found a way to win, and you found a way to make the money and do the right thing. And but you're still not like, you're not like hoarding it. You're giving back to the community, and you're supporting different projects, and you're doing charity work, and you're doing food giveaways, and, you know, working with the church and things like that, man. You know, it's like when you told that story about your dad, he'd be so fucking proud of you with like all the stuff you do to help the community like he was doing. Man, you should take a lot of honor in what you're doing, because, you know, like, or you should take a lot of pride in what you're doing, because it's tremendous. Like, you know, like there's a lot of honor in the things you do and like the service you provide. Yeah. You're a man of the Lord's fucking people. Damn right, brother. Damn right, man. So like we said,
I'm the people's chef, baby. I'm the people's chef.
The people's chef. Damn right. So like we said, available in the description of this episode, we'll have a link for AAA Catering. We'll have a link for Panico's Bar. Man, Chip, like, this is fucking awesome, dude. I was super excited for this episode and like really, really looking forward to it, you know, and when we booked it. And this would be, I think this is your third or fourth time on the show already, you know, and I mean, not to mention like you have some YouTube content that you do. What's your YouTube channel?
You can find me on YouTube with Chef Chipper. My Instagram is at the real Chef Chipper, and then pretty active on Facebook. If you want to like Chef Chipper at AAA Catering on Facebook, you see my specials, food stuff, and wacky videos I make and shit like that.
Dude, I love your content that you put out on the channel. I'm a big fan. But no, so dude, and then and we'll have a link for all those in the description of this episode. Highly suggest following. Check it out. Great follow and great content on the YouTube channel. But we're coming to the top of time. Man, this has been just such a fucking blast, dude. Really, really enjoyed this. And I love when we can, I know ice cream is our mantra and every flavor of ice cream is how we view entertainment, but we really did hit every fucking thing. Like, you know, like we started with like the town stuff and the local stuff. Then we got into some comic stuff. Then we got into some business stuff, and not even to mention like the family stuff and everything like that. And like just all the good things you do, man. And like, you really are like, just the way you behave and present yourself and stuff. It really is something like for someone who's been successful, you're not hoarding your success. You're sharing your success and like doing good for others still. And I think that's a great thing, man. And it's just, you know, it's great to have you on and, you know, love what you're doing. But before we get out of here, well, also, I think we're all on, you know, usually me, Justin, Tom, and Bern are on the same page, but we would love to have you back on the show if you'd be willing to come back on.
Hell yeah, man. I appreciate the opportunity. You know, I'm just here in Lansdale forever. And I have I'm very blessed. I do a lot of fun things, man. I've had a pretty good life thus far. And now I'm just trying to plant seeds, dude. I've had a lot of great mentors over the years, whether it be my family and their family business, my extended family and all their businesses, and all my cousins, they're fucking hustlers with their own businesses. Whether it be the different characters in the bar, whether it be the directors and employees of the Boys and Girls Club, or the coaches and teachers at LC. I've had like a great mentorship straight through. And now I'm just trying to put it back into the town and, like I said, plant seeds and do good shit. And hopefully someone else feeds off it and my garden grows and someone else is planting seeds and their garden grows and our gardens rub up against each other. Next thing you know, the grass is greener. You know what I mean?
Dude, love it. No, dude, I firmly believe exactly what you're talking about. You're building the ecosystem, brother. You know what I'm saying? You're just helping make the world a better place at one step at a time, one little town at a time, everything like that, man. I could not agree more. But we are coming to the top of time. Chef Chipper, like we said, we'll have a link to your Instagram, to your Facebook. We'll have a link to your YouTube channel. We'll have a link to AAA Catering, and we'll have a link to Panico's Bar. Will all be in the description of this episode, as well as all of our links.
A few song links too.
Oh yeah, we got the song. What was the song, Chip, that you said was a better one than Justin's?
Right down the line.
Jerry Rafferty, right down the line.
All right, love it. So we'll have a link for that in the description as well. But we're coming to the top of time. Chef, is there anything you want to say to your adoring fans before we get out of here?
Just remember, Chipper loves you.
Damn right. Damn right. We love you back. Benoit Pahoud Casse. Anything you want to say to the 44th faithful before we take off?
No, just a fun one, man. Thanks for having me on, and great to talk to Chip again. And yeah, man. I mean, I feel like these kind of values exist everywhere. You got to look a little bit for them sometimes. But there are people who still really give a shit about community and where they came from, and making that place a little bit better than it was, you know, when they were there. And I always want to talk to those people.
Agreed. Absolutely. Agreed. And I want to give them a platform to share their stuff. Absolutely.
Hell yeah.
Nice. So, Captain Jerkbeard, anything you want to say to the Jerkbearders out there?
Gravy tits, baby.
Gravy tits. Gravy tits. Apolonia Gravy Tits.
Chip, good talking to you, man. Thanks for being on, man. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah. This is really good.
Always.
Jalen, you still whacking it in the sink or what?
Yeah, you know, it's just practical. I just want to shout out other now cool chefs that you've added yourself to the list of. Chip, we've got Anthony Bourdain, we've got Guy Fieri, we've got Raekwon the chef, Boyardee, just regular old South Park chef, and now Chef Chipper.
All right,
yeah. I would say Chef Chipper's at the top of that list for sure. Well, I don't know. Boyardee's pretty good. Boyardee's tough.
It's Fieri.
Shout out Raekwon.
Oh, Raekwon.
Yeah, I would say I would watch a Chef Chip Raekwon cipher tomorrow. Let's figure out how to make that happen.
Nice. Well,
to our faces. Sorry.
No, you're good. So yeah, as long as it's not old dirty bastard. Yeesh. Don't want to know what he's cooking.
Listen to the show.
Yeah, RIP, former fan of show, listener show.
Jesus.
Yep, for dirty Jesus. Okay, so this has been another episode of the Work Inspectors Podcast. I'm Matt Lavelle, accompanied today by Justin Richardson, Bern Pockasy, Tom Lavelle, and our guest was the one and only Chef Chipper. You can find all our content and all our stuff on all podcast platforms and YouTube at Work Inspectors Podcast. You can have us on Instagram at Work Inspectors Podcast, and you can join us on the Twitter and the TikTok at Working P Pod. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, please email us at workinspectors@gmail.com. And we got 4 words for you. Please like and subscribe. All right, this has been another episode of the Work Inspectors Podcast. Thanks for listening. Stick around for the ad read. Thanks. See you. Do you have a message or a story inside of you that you've been waiting to tell? Have you always dreamed of writing a book, but are intimidated by the complexities of the book publishing world? Perhaps you want to use a book to launch your public speaking or consulting career. If so, please reach out to Scott and Bell Publishing, located right here in beautiful Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Scott and Bell Publishing handle all genres and authors with all experience levels. Scott and Bell Publishing gives authors 100% creative freedom and a higher royalty split. They can be found at www.skotbell.com. That's www.s as in Sam, K as in Kite, O as in October, T as in Tom, B as in Boy, E as in Edward, L as in Larry, L as in Larry.com. That's Scott and Bell Publishing, where the authors go.